Eli Stowers is hurt and won't be playing in tonight's exhibition game. Can anyone say NFL sniper alert? NFL sniper alert. Have you seen him? Hey, NFL sniper alert. Oh, I got a hamstring. Hang on. Put me in a compression boot. Let's go. I got a sleeve on. And he start limping around. Holy cow. You got to be kidding me. Eli Stowers has been hit by the NFL sniper already? Oh, Maron. You're not getting that guy for the first 4 weeks of the season. I'm saying you may not get that guy for the remainder of the year. Give me a break. Good afternoon to you too, Swab. Thanks for coming aboard, man. Get this. Oh, no. What are you talking about, Sills? All right. I think they put that guy in a compression sleeve and Eli Stowers on injured reserve because he's blown so bad in camp that they're going to put him on IR. The only other thing you can do with a guy like that is cut him, and you're not cutting a second pick in the draft. Holy cow. Hey, he was injured when he was drafted. Maybe that accounts for a shitty play. Holy cow. Realist Eagle talk show on the internet. Dude, the guy's hit by the internet. And people are, get this, you're really not going to, Hollywood, give that guy cover, are you? He's a backup tight end? My God. The second pick in the draft will not be eligible to play for the first 4 games of the year. I mean, you can't write a script for that. You just can't. Throw shade on that. Oh, Dan, he hurt himself. And yeah, okay, yeah, sure. You got to be kidding me. So you got a guy in Makai Lemon who's not done shit in camp. And then you got another guy that you drafted in the second round who's not going to be eligible to play for the first month of the season. You really can't make that shit up. You can't. Hey, by the way, I don't even know if he's good. I have no idea if he's good. You know the one thing that they're having a difficult time doing? That's figuring out who they're going to replace Lane Johnson and Dallas Goedert with. I know all of you think it's going to be Markel Bell, and I sure hope so too. Love to see a Hurricane make that transition to being a starting guy for the Eagles. I love that. That'd be great. But that's a long way off, man. I'll tell you this. This rookie class outside of Bell, very underwhelming. Oh, wait. Here's the ultimate guy. Now we need to doom over the 4th tight end. No, the second pick. Doom? No, your second round draft choice. Let's take a look who M. Reyes is throwing shade for now. And let's take a look at the last 2 years, or even the last 5 years, of Eagles who were drafted in the second round. And let's see if those guys competed year-to-year draft. Let's take a look at that. So let's take a look at the second-round draft choices that the Eagles have selected over the last couple of years. Andrew Makuba. Well, the guy's starting and played last year and started. Cooper DeJean. Nolan Smith. Cam Jurgens. Landon Dickerson. Jalen Hurts. That goes back to 2020. And then you got Eli Stowers, your number 2 pick, hit by a sniper, and he's not eligible to play. He's the worst opening second-round pick in the last 5 years that the Eagles have had. Okay? By the way, Zach Ertz, Miles Sanders, former Pro Bowler. Dallas Goedert. And now you have Eli Stowers. Hey, Don, I just went the last 5 years. Holy shit, that guy sucks out of the gate. Woo! Also, didn't they play their preseason debut? With all the scouting resources, it's almost impossible to fuck up a second rounder. Let's see what your boy says here. I like this guy because he'll do whatever he can to make that pick sound better right now. Let's see what he says. He hasn't played it down. It's too early to damn a rookie career numbnuts. I'm just talking about him being fucking able to step on a field. I never said anything about his ability. I said the guy just to play. Hey, what's next, Reyes? He can't even get on the fucking field. And nor do the Eagles want him on the field. They're going to put him on IR with the infamous sniper report. Now, yeah, hey, Sue, you know what the numbnuts is? Covering for that bullshit. Okay? You got to love it. Hey, you know, you can't say anything about the guy. Oh, no, he's just not going to be a good football player in the first year. And now what they did, they hit him with the NFL sniper. You know what the NFL sniper is? Hey, listen, we need you to do this. You need to go down in a preseason or practice, okay? And we're going to put you on injured reserve. You're going to miss the first 4 weeks of the season. So you got to wear a compression sleeve. The new reality show in Philly, The Real Hamstrings of Philly, starring Eli Stowers, Devontae Smith, and Makai Lemon. I mean, right? You've been snipered. Still, I can't believe the Pats don't want to pay Gonzalez. I'm hearing they don't want to surpass the Witherspoon deal. Dude, they'll come to their senses. Then again, New England never pays top dollar for anybody. Like who? Who has New England ever paid top dollar to? Name me one player. Even during the Brady era. Name me one guy who made the most money in the league at his respected position. Name me one guy. That's not what they do in New England. They don't do that. Pats are a cheap team. Yes. Also this, it's not so much a cheap team. The Pats believe in the collective. They don't believe in what the Eagles do. And there lies the difference in the two franchises. There's no way the Patriots would have paid Jalen Carter. They would never pay Jalen Carter. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. They would never have paid him. When Richard Seymour's deal came up, they moved him. They don't believe in that. They acquired a contract. They didn't give him that deal. They felt comfortable paying that deal. Hey, they never paid A.J. Brown that deal and gave A.J. that deal. Eagles did. Hey, Sills, this generation, and by the way, if you think about it, A.J. Brown's deal is a below market value deal. Top receivers right now are making 35 to 40 million. He's making 32. How the Patriots look at it, it's an under market value deal for that position. They got a deal. 32 million versus 40 million. Milton Williams is far removed from the highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL. Like I said, the Patriots don't pay top dollar market prices for a DT. a wideout or for anybody ever. It's not what they do. And Milton Williams' deal is a below market value deal now. For the top defensive tackles, 38, 35, 31. It's under market. Patriots got another deal with Milton Williams. Okay? No, they've never paid top dollar market changing contracts for anybody, including Tom Brady. Ever. It's not what they do. And for this guy, where is he? Twiz. The goalpost changes in the NFL daily. Let's see, Daft. Let's go back here. My bad. Hey, Sills, this generation of players are really weak, like Stowers, Lemon can't even get on the field. And now Howie has to cover up due to high drafted players. Yeah. Lemon and Stowers have been the biggest disappointments in training camp for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2026. The biggest disappointments have been your two top draft choices. No one else. You give Devontae a pass because he's a good football player. Okay? And anybody else who's a veteran on that football team, you give him a pass. But at the end of the day, okay, those two guys have been the biggest disappointment. Seals, how he went to get this. Who do you trust? I'm not fucking asking you to trust me, douchebag. I'm just pointing out what's happened. Seals, how he went to the well once too often. He's hit on late round gambles in the past. He pushed it 2 years ago with Jalen. Dude, great pick. Great pick. By the way, let me ask you this. That's a great pick, Bob. The Jalen. Hey, listen. The Jalen Hunt pick was great, right? What do you make of the Nolan Smith pick? So Richard Seymour played for the Patriots for 8 years. They've been paying him. They let him go after almost a decade. Carter's been in the NFL for 3 years. They don't pay high-end contracts for anybody. Name me one market-setting deal the Patriots have done in the last 25 years. Jimbo, why is this so hard to believe? They don't change and pay high-end. Milton Williams is not the highest paid DT. We're moving on. Sales thoughts on the 35-year-old Ertz for a reunion. Maybe. One more time. The New England Patriots never pay market-changing prices for any player in the last 25 years. Okay? Nobody. All right, let's move on. We're gonna try to have some fun here today. So I'm gonna have a first question. By the way, on August 28th, heading into the final exhibition weekend, tonight we'll talk a little bit about the Bengals too and what the 26 Bengals are going to look like. But I have a new top 10 NFL. top 10 quarterbacks. I got my teams that I'm going to project to make the postseason and win their divisions. Also, a little bit on Nick, but I do want to start it out with this. So, you tell me, who's going to be the Eagles' backup quarterback this coming season for the team? Who would you put in that role? And ask yourself this question. Who does Sean Mannion and Nick feel more comfortable with? Don't just go by what you think is the better player. They don't trust Tanner McKee. They don't trust Tanner McKee to run that offense under center. The guy who can run that offense under center is Andy. Andy will get the number 2 spot because they feel more Tanner's the better player and has the better skill. I agree. But Andy knows how to run that offense better. Okay? Yeah, but here, that's not that important. Who do you think can line up the wide receivers in a proper place and put everybody in a right formation with the new offense? Andy or Tanner? Andy by far. By the way, that's not close. Andy doesn't know. Andy knows how to line these guys up. Andy knows how to put these guys in a formation. Tanner doesn't with this new offense. Well, Tanner's the better player. Yeah, well, if you don't know how to line up, that doesn't mean anything. Andy has run the NFL offenses. That's why they will have more confidence in Dalton. Correct. Charles, let me put it to you this way. You're not wrong when you say, still, Tanner kind of shows more. They're comfortable with him. But this is like a rookie year for Tanner McKee. And I think it's important to have Andy there. And if it were me, I'd put Andy Dalton in that 2 hole. Because if you had to go into an emergency situation where you had to play him, at least you can line up with him, putting your guys in a formation, and you could try to ride Barkley. Sills, does this mean Christian Gonzalez walks? He's rumored to not be playing week 1. If that's how he's going to roll, the Patriots will move him. The Patriots will move him. For what? I don't know. Once again, Reyes doesn't understand. Who has a better understanding of the playbook? Tanner McKee or Andy Dalton? Just because you're more talented doesn't mean you're going to play. He doesn't get it. Dalton knows where to put the Y, the Z, the audibles, all of that. Tanner McKee can't play under center. Tanner McKee can't play under center. Why are you practicing everything under center if your backup quarterback can't play under center? Sill's experience gets Andy the nod, but he's not set enough that he can't be traded if the opening's there. Bob, he's not set if there's another guy out there that ends up getting cut, that the Eagles feel more comfortable in the 2 spot, that they could bring another guy in. But McKee can't play under center. He's a pistol guy. All the shit that you're practicing and all the stuff that Jalen Hurts has been working on, it's irrelevant with McKee in the game. They can't run what Reyes is saying. the new scheme. Andy Dalton can run the new scheme. Tanner McKee can't. And it's important knowing how many backup quarterbacks played last year in the NFL. Over 40 quarterbacks played in the NFL that were designated as backups last year. You need to have that role. Sills, let's be honest. We don't know if Hurts could play from under center either. However, Bob, I got that. But that's your starter. That's your starting quarterback. That's the guy that you're going to have to go whether he can or he can't. Okay? Yeah, Sue, I'm not telling you that Andy Dalton's better than Tanner McKee. I'm telling you he knows more than Tanner McKee. And Tanner can't play under center. And you know how we know that? The last exhibition game. The guy was struggling in the Baltimore game under center. He looked like a stiff. They put him in pistol. Well, that's not the new scheme. By the way, that position is a quarterback position. Listen to this. Dalton's knowledge is useless if he's hurt, not on the sidelines. He's not hurt. Dude, listen what this asshole says to you. Andy Dalton's never run this scheme before in his entire life. Or excuse me, Tanner McKee's never run this. But he would put a guy in there that Jalen Hurts is struggling with all these interceptions. And you're going to put a lesser talent in Tanner McKee in there? Dude, you are the dumbest human being I've ever talked football with. And that says a lot. You can't be any more of a fucking dingbat. So get this. He would put a guy who can't run the offense. Okay? Can't run the offense. Doesn't know how to run the offense. And can't play under center. That would be his backup. Wow. Hey, Sue? Well, that went about 20 minutes, and you won't have that the rest of the day. Because the more I talk to that guy, the fucking stupider I get. So that'll be the end of that today. Come on, we know Hurts can play under center. No, he can't. There's no pro quarterback. Okay? There's no pro quarterback. Let me see this. Hold on. Okay. Okay. He can't play under center. Let's see here. Let's move past Reyes here. Let's go here. There we go. Sills, what about nickname? No. All Reyes does is support you every day. Great. We appreciate him being here. That doesn't mean I'm going to go to an idiot every day. Dalton should be the quarterback 3 and pretty much be an extension of the coaching staff. So you're going to put in also another guy in there that can't run the offense. JD, you would put a player in there at the number 2 quarterback spot that can't run the offense? Seals, Vic said Woolen is sloppy at times, but he's a good kid. And I like coaching him. I love to hear that. Your thoughts? Yeah, it's good stuff. And by the way, the reason why he's not in Seattle is because just that. He's not only sloppy with his technique, he's also sloppy with his character at times. And that's why he's not in Seattle. Sills, do you think the backup will be based on Hurts' ability under center? No. I think the backup is who Sean Mannion and Nick feel comfortable with. That's who I think. Remember something. They don't hire coordinators for Jalen Hurts. They hire coordinators for Nick Sirianni, who Nick feels comfortable with. That's who that's who they bring. Okay? They don't bring in they don't bring in guys to help Jalen. They bring in guys to help Nick. Sills, you're missing that Mannion adjusted to McKee, which is a good sign. He adjusted to him because he couldn't run the new scheme. Do you agree with that? So all the shit you worked on in the spring and in the summer camp, you put McKee in, all that work goes to shit because the quarterback can't play under center because he doesn't have good enough feet. Is that what you're saying, Twiz? So all the things you did, all the new nuances, all the terminology, okay? What does that matter? Mannion adjusted. So this is what Twiz just said. What does that matter? You made all the personnel changes. You made all the schematic changes. You made all of the jargon changes. You went in and put a brand new playbook in, and Twiz says, what does that matter? All that work you did, according to Twiz, fuck it. All that, we have to go back to Mannion. And we go back to the old offense. Okay. So Twiz wants to take all the work you did and trash it. Shit, get this. When Carson Wentz went down, they adjusted to more RPOs, but they didn't change the fucking offense. I'm looking at it. No, yeah, I'm looking at it wrong. Another guy. Still playing under center is football 101. Tanner McKee can't. Being under center isn't hard. All right, well, let's take a look at that. What percentage of Jalen Hurts' snaps what percentage of Jalen Hurts' snaps at quarterback for the Eagles has been in shotgun? I have no idea. %85 of Jalen Hurts' snaps, which are 2,400, have been in shotgun. 15% have been under center. And most of those have been tush push. Bootleg, Hurts doesn't play under center. Jalen Hurts doesn't play under center. In 5 years, 85% of the time he's been in shotgun. And then you want to put a guy as his backup quarterback who can't play in shotgun, who can't play under center. This is some scheme going on here. Hurts being in gun is because no OC has been good at. Oh. They're 50-18. And no OC has been good enough to mold him as an under center quarterback. Now he's being asked, so let's see. So every coordinator that has come in here, and do you think that Kellen Moore was an under center offensive coordinator? Or did he have to adjust to Jalen? You think Jalen adjusts to these coordinators? Jalen, the coordinators have to adjust to Hurts. This is the first time they've asked him to adjust to a coordinator. Do you not get that? Wow. Excuse machine is awful high. Sills, this is sounding more and more like Mannion is trying to fit a square peg in round holes. So it took him all offseason and training camp to find out what his quarterback can and can't do. Dude, get this. This is why this little exercise about the backup quarterback. I think a lot with the backup quarterback is going to tell you a little bit about the approach of what the team's going to do in the regular season with the 22 starters. Watch this. This is completely different. Playing under center gives Brock Purdy and San Francisco offense better play action deception, stronger run game momentum, cleaner timing with Kyle Shanahan's system. Hurts no way. That's point on. Plus, you got Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy. Purdy's a great dissector of defenses, and Kyle's a great designer of plays and a great play caller. You have none of that in Philly. You have none of that. Wait, Tanner can't play under center. Yeah, it's time to call out Brian Pumper's big sales. Let him slide. Hold on. Tanner McKee can't play under center. He can't play under center. He couldn't play under center when he was at Stanford. Here, let's take a look at that. And I have yet to see this. So I'll go here. Pump, let's see if you're right. NFL pre-draft report, Tanner McKee. Here we go. Draft prospect. I haven't even looked at this. Haven't even looked at it. Never even saw it. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Here's McKee. TDI&T ratio over his final 7 games. 3 for 3. 500. Chunky feet in play action and on rollouts. Struggles with consistent ball placement on all 3 levels. Process becomes too rushed with pressure mounting. Aims his short throws at times. Misses athleticism to work successful off schedule. Poor mobility and can put him in distress. Ball comes out easy. Has access to drive velocity. Adjust anticipating on intermediate windows. Majority of his career at Stanford in shotgun. Dude. I mean, I didn't write that. I didn't write that. Flex project, Johnny Wilson on IR. Vic hates Ringo. Tanner lost his job to Andy. Pump is down bad, real bad. Yeah, well, Tanner McKee played the majority of his career. Let's see this. Let me see if there's even a stat for that on Tanner. How many? What percentage? Snaps for Tanner McKee. McKee at Stanford were in shotgun. I think I've seen this before. 93.88% of Tanner McKee's passes in his entire career at Stanford were out of shotgun. He can't play under center. Pumper, where are you? Where are you at? You beg for this guy to play over Hurts. Don't get quiet now. Who are you talking to? I think he's making this up, right? There's nobody on this network that's ever said bench Jalen Hurts for him. I appreciate the super. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm not going to address that because I've never said that. Tanner McKee playing over Hurts? Are you fucking kidding? That guy's a bum. Sills Hurts was 11.51 yards per play and 25 under center versus 8.45 in shotgun, 69 completion percentage. Dude, 85% of his passes have been in gun. Oh, Marsh is calling out Pump. Pump. Marsh, my bad. He's calling Pump out. My bad. I got you. Where's Pump? Hey, Pump, your boy, man. He can't play under center. Big Marsh is right. Marsh, I got you, brother. That's right. Hey, Tanner McKee can't play under center. That's why he's not the second backup. Marsh isn't lying. Pump said it. You're damn. Hey, dude. Pump. Sorry, dude. McKee's not it. Hey, Sue, lighten up, honey. Sit down. We are going to see how much AJ has fail-safe for Hurts this year. I got you, bro. I hear you. Got you, man. You can't read for shit, Cells. That's a fact. I know it has. My point, he hasn't been asked to do it for an extended period of time. I get they run the system they think is the strongest suit, but how can you say he can't when you haven't taught him how? You've got to teach a quarterback in year 7 in the NFL to play under center. Let me draft a quarterback who can play under center. Dude, you guys are out of your mind. You're not going to teach Jalen Hurts how to play under center. In year 7. You're just not. Why does Sue catching straights? Because she's always butting into bullshit. How can you? It's not shitting on Hurts, dude. It's who he is. And if you think it's shitting on Hurts, that's a you problem, bro. At least Sue gets it. Some of the other guys moan like a... Thank you, Flexen. Appreciate it. Get this. You're right. Teaching Jalen Hurts in year 7 is insane work. Hey, Tom, I want you to run RPOs in year 20. That's just where I'm at. Nope, you never taught him in year 1. It goes back to you saying if Andy Reid McVay had been his coach since day 1, he would have been a completely different quarterback. Why does that change now? Same concept, man. Because they would never have taught him to be a thrower of the football under center. Let me show you this. How many of, let's see, you guys think coordinators, I mean, a coordinator builds the offense to the skill of the quarterback. What percentage of snaps for Patrick Mahomes have been in shot at the Chiefs? At the Chiefs. We're in shotgun. Let's take a look at this. I don't know. 87% of Patrick Mahomes' snaps have been in shotgun since he's been a starting quarterback in Kansas City. You think Andy Reid's going to turn him into a player under center now? Why would they do that? Andy Reid knew Mahomes was better in shotgun. So they put him in shotgun. That was his skill, being in shotgun. They're not teaching Patrick Mahomes to become a quarterback under center. Pumper can't call in that bum scanner. McKee, holy shit. Marsh, appreciate you, dude. Finally caught an episode of Outspoken. Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, bro. Thank you. Okay. Bootleg, all good. Sills, love you, Ben. Not being disrespectful, but you mean to tell me if McVay, Reed, Shanahan was his quarterback, he wouldn't have been a better passer from under center? No. Let's take a look at this. I'm proving the point to you. Andy Reid thought Mahomes would be a better player in shotgun, not under center. That's why over a third of his passes come from shotgun. Here, let's do this one. What's the percentage of Matthew Stafford from shotgun? Matthew Stafford. The Rams. How many is in shotgun? Over 75% of Matthew Stafford's passes are in shotgun. You actually think you're going to tell Matthew Stafford, hey, get under center? In what, year 18? Why would you do that? They fit a system to the quarterback's skill. I mean, the Eagles are taking a guy with 86% shotgun, and now they're going to play him under center? There's no quarterback in the NFL that they're doing that to. Lamar, 95%. Probably, let me see. And now you're asking Hurts to be under center? Boy, that sure sounds like a really shitty coaching job to me. I don't even know. I've never seen these numbers before. Lamar Jackson with the Ravens. What percentage of snaps for Lamar Jackson at the Ravens were in shotgun? 95%. Now you're going to play. So wait, they're going to take Lamar out of shotgun and put him under center. Really? I don't think so. But now you're going to take Jalen out and put him under center and expect him to do things no other quarterback in the NFL is doing. He's the only guy that they're doing that shit with. Okay. You do have a point, Sills. They brought in a new coaching system that doesn't appear to match the players. Interesting times ahead. Well, listen. Watch this. Let me think of a quarterback that does play under center. Let me say something. Let me see what Brock Purdy does. And what Brock Purdy is. Let me see what Brock Purdy is. Brock Purdy. 49ers. 73% of Brock Purdy's passes come in shotgun. Get this. Expected points added. How about this? He ranks number 1, though, in dropbacks. He ranks number 1 in defenses adjusted value average. Total touchdowns, he ranks 1. 20-plus yard completion percentage. He ranks number 1. And now they're going to tell Jalen Hurts, hey, we want you to be under center. Sills, Reed and McVay would have embraced what Hurts does well and emphasized it, not try to change it 6 times. They would have kept him in shotgun. Andy Reid would have kept him in shotgun. Okay? He would have kept him in shotgun. And they would have been better coaches. Bob, the difference in Philly is they take the ball out of the quarterback's hands and give it to Barkley. That's how they get away with it. Because Jalen's not the focal point of the offense. Now, he is when he runs. But when he's not, does he honestly think the Birds are just going to stop running shotgun? What are we talking about? Well, dude, that's all they're talking about. That's all they've been running is going under center. Have you not been watching? They're going to do that tonight. If Tanner plays, they'll probably put him in pistol because he can't run under center. Tanner McKee can't play with the new offense. The reason that he looks so bad, he doesn't understand the new offense. That's why everyone keeps going, what's the fascination with Andy Dalton? Andy Dalton knows the offense. Tanner McKee can't play under center. It's been a mantra of his career for the last 6 years, since college. You don't change the zebra stripes. Okay? Majority of the top quarterbacks play from gun. No one plays 80% under center. Everyone is 75% or more from shotgun. Let's take a look at that. Okay? And let's see what Baker Mayfield does. Well, wait a minute. So all the stuff under center is going to be limited and they're still going to keep Hurts in shotgun? You haven't changed the offense then. Let's see what Baker does. So the Eagles want to go under center more to help the run game, not to help Hurts. Do you understand why we opened up with who's the backup? They're not improving the offense for Jalen. They're improving the offense for the running back. If you're putting Jalen under center, it's not to help him. You guys are right. The majority of the quarterbacks in today's NFL, 80% of them playing the gun. 90% of them playing the gun. They don't play under center. The reason they're playing them under center, they want to improve Barkley again. That's why they're doing that. They're not doing that to help him in the passing game. Bob, do you follow me here, Bob? Because the rest of these guys are not going to because they're Jalenites. They're not changing the offense for Jalen Hurts. They're changing the offense for Saquon Barkley and to help Barkley get open more and to create those run lanes. They want to run a stretch. They want to put the quarterback under center. They want to help the run game cosmetically and schematically. Well, to sit there and think that Jalen Hurts is going to throw for 3,900 yards this year is utterly insane. They're not setting him up for that. And you take AJ off the field. They're not setting him up for that. They're setting him up to do whatever it can to get the run game going. And Jalen seems to be on board with it, which is cool. That's why the importance of the backup is telling you all you need to know. Tanner McKee can't play under center. You're right. Mannion adjusted. So it would look better schematically. But what they're going to try to do during the regular season is nothing Tanner McKee does well. This O-line and running back and defense want us a Super Bowl. We should do whatever we can to improve the run game. Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're not putting Jalen Hurts under center to improve the passing game. They're putting him under center to improve Barkley's game and to help him. It's got nothing to do with Jalen unless Jalen runs. This is telling you a lot. Sills, this is why after Philly got past their 20 scripted plays to start a game, the other team started calling out plays by halftime and their offensive efficiencies went down after the first quarter. Spectacular take, and you're right. Once they went off the scripted plays and they had to go into situational play calling, they were exposed. So as I told you for weeks, these changes were about fixing the run game. And you kept shitting on that take. Well, I think you're right. I think you're right. I do. Petula was exposed, he said. The same shit they did in 2025, they did in 24. Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. Lack of player production, health, and poor situational play calling. The difference between Kevin Petullo and Kellen Moore was that Kellen knew how to call the right run plays. Kevin didn't, but Sean will, right? All right. Make that make sense. Why is Sean Mannion smarter than Kevin Petullo? Is mind-numbing on where you come from with that. It's going to be the same. Sean Mannion is no different than Kevin Petullo. They're the same guy. This is about the run game. They're the same guy. It tells you two things. They don't think Jalen's passing is worth adapting. That is a freaking absolutely awesome take. It tells you two things. They don't think Jalen's passing is worth adapting for, and that he's unwilling to run it at a high clip. Rasputin, you're right. The Eagles don't want to adjust to Jalen's passing and helping him in the passing game. That ship has sailed. Or they would have hired somebody to help him. They didn't. They hired somebody to help Barkley. Show me where they did anything this year to help Hurts. Show me where they've done anything. Where have they helped Hurts in the passing game this year? Can't be those two draft choices. Put that to the side. Where? Where have they helped them? By putting him under center? That helps the run game. Name me any place that they've done anything help the run game. There's no place, nowhere, no how, no moves, anywhere that will improve the run game. Trading AJ? Hiring a first-year coordinator? Where? And hiring 4s and 5 wide receivers. So the first thing Schottenheimer said at the beginning of last season is that he would put Dak under center for mirror run and pass same formations to increase play action efficiency. That's exactly what they did. And that helped that run game. And it helped elevate the pass game. That's correct. Let me see Dak Prescott now. What percentage of snaps for Dak? Prescott, of all the quarterbacks we mentioned, runs the less in shotgun of any quarterback we mentioned. He's 55 to 60% in shotgun. He's the more balanced quarterback that we've mentioned of any other quarterback. Because he's trying to get the run game paired up with the pass game. That's why people look at Dak and go, Dak is one of the only quarterbacks in the league that's trying to pair up the run game with the pass game. The rest of these guys are 85%. Look at Kansas City. Kansas City's 86% out of shotgun. There's no run game in Kansas City. It's all Mahomes, man. It's all Mahomes making plays. Get this. Sills are trying to build a really good quarterback who wins no Super Bowls. Funny, you're asking your quarterback to play like Brock Purdy and Dak. Ain't that funny? You're asking him to play like Dak now. Sills, this also adds to the AJ drama because I'm sure he saw this Tennessee days when Henry running. Maybe it was less about Hurts passing and more about blocking for Barkley. Absolutely. Hey, Bob. A.J. Brown felt like he was released from prison from Tennessee when he didn't have to block for Derrick Henry anymore. Then all of a sudden the Eagles and Barkley parachutes in. That's Derrick Henry 2.0. That's Derrick Henry. Getting players who are actually bought into the system and run it without complaining. Hey, I mean, here, let's look at another guy here. Let's take a look at this guy. What I'm trying to point to you here is they're putting Hurts in a position to help the run game, not him. And I agree with what I think it was Rasputin who posted that. They look at Jalen Hurts' passing ability. They're not going to develop that. There's not a lot to develop. Sure, they could put him in a better situation based off the run game. And if he's running some RPOs and get him out in space. Other than that, though, they're not going to sit around and develop a guy's passing game who's never been developed. No, we are asking him to use the field more. By putting him under center? That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous take, man. That's not how that pairs up. Okay? Dude, I can't go to him. He's too fucking stupid. So we're not going there. All right, wait. We will. The run game and passing game go hand in hand. They've never gone hand in hand in Philly. Ever. You have never gone hand in hand. You've never had a balanced offense in 5 years. Where, outside of 2022, did you have a balanced offense? Name me a year where you paired up your run and pass game and they were on the same page with one another. What year was that? Outside of 22. I just said 22, Sig. That's 4 years ago. Name me another time. One other time that the run game and the pass game were close to one another. 1 year. And that was the year Jalen ran the most. Get this. Outside of 1 year, that would make my point. You've never been paired up. Yes, that's the only time. And it was only that way because he ran the ball. Man, it should have. called Kellen Moore to find out what a uphill battle it was going to be to try to get Hurts under center and getting him to throw with anticipation. Kellen Moore tried that in 24 and it failed. Still, the only issue I have with this take is that if you're going to emphasize the run, why'd you let Stout run? Get this. 24, the rushing attack went hand in hand with most efficiency passing attack. The Eagles' passing attack was 24th. The Eagles' running attack was 23rd. Yes, it did pair up, but it was awful. Okay? And the successful years you had, in 2024, you were 29th in passing. Here, let me prove a point to you guys. Yeah, your run game wasn't good. Hey, get this, folks. When your run game wasn't good in 24, you got pounded in the playoffs. Here. I'm not debating this, man. I'm really not. Here, look at this. 2021. Since Jalen Hurts has been a starting quarterback, 2021, Eagles rushing rank, rushing offense, ranking. What was it? 2021. They were first in 2021. What was their passing in 2021? Let's see here. And it's a rookie year. All good. They were 25th. That's 2021. 2022 was a very good year, and I know this. We picked you to go to the Super Bowl that year. Let's see what you had. 22. Passing offense. You were 9th. Like I said, this is your best year. Rushing, I think, and again, that's because Hurts ran. Fifth in rushing. Best year, 2022. Take a look at 23. You were 2023. 8th in rushing. Passing. $18th. 24. Passing. 29th. Rushing. I already know that. You're second. 25. Rushing or passing, you were 23rd. And rushing, I believe you were 17th. 19th. So theoretically, every year but 2022, you've been ranked 25th in passing, 18th, 23rd, 29th in the 5 years. Basically averaging around 24th ranking in passing, top 5 in rushing. I mean, you've paired that up. And now you're going to do that by putting your quarterback under center. Great exercise. I didn't know we were high volume passing offense. Let's see here. Talk about some shit, some other shit, homie. I always the same. They're dude, this is the shit you're working on right now. It started with your I need another show, guy. That simple, the running scheme was no longer productive to the health and aging of the O-line. That's why they changed the scheme to adapt to the O-line's philosophy in Philly. Just a different way to adapt to it and change from stout to Mannion. Dude, listen to how that sounds. From stout to Mannion. Sills, the Dallas game's going to come down to stops the run on the edges. I agree. Money that used to go to the offensive line and the skilled group is going to the defense now. Well, because you have a lot of money built in. Me and Sakota were bullying Flex yesterday. So bad he timed me out. Let's see here. Run game was awful last year and still better than the passing. No, it wasn't. Oh, yes. Yes. Drew Brees had plenty of years where they threw for a bunch of 5K season and missed the playoffs. That's because that offense is built around Drew Brees. Okay? You fucked that all. Here, I'll go back. That's simple. The run scheme was no longer conducive to the health and the aging of the offensive line. That's why they changed the scheme to adapt to the O-line. Same philosophy in Philly, just a different way of doing it and changing from stout to Mannion. Marsh, I'll say it one more time to you. Changing from Mannion to Stoutland, or from stout to Mannion, is like talking to me about the sun and the moon. They're two different things. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you, man. And the aging of the offensive line is a factor. I agree. 1,000%. Right, Mark. So why not pass with the top 10 rank in pass block? They changed the offense because they can no longer be one-dimensional. They can't be one-dimensional because the offensive line. Like, who said it yesterday? I think it was Prince. I said that you had an aging and an injured offensive line. Well, Landon Dickerson and Lane Johnson may not be on your football team next year. And you're going to walk into 27 with this. Jordan Mailata, a new dude, Cam, Tyler, and Markel Bell. That's not the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line. That's not. Like I said, Hurts has spent 87% of his career in gun. Now they're putting him under center. And they want to get more balance. Okay? That's not to help him. That's to help Barkley. It's almost like the Eagles have given up trying to develop the guy. That's my take. They've given up trying to develop him. They want Hurts to throw here. They want Hurts. Hey, get this. You know what? And Zander's going to be on here soon. I can't wait to get him on. By the way, Mike North, we all know that, 4:30. Philly Godfather is going to join us. We got college football this weekend. So all of you are saying this. I really like that they're asking Jalen to throw across the middle and to spread the ball around. Listen to what you're talking about. You're telling an NFL quarterback in year 7 of his career, hey, I really like the way you're throwing to the middle of the field and spreading the ball around. Hey, congratulations for finally being an NFL quarterback? That's wild. You don't get kudos for doing what's expected. That's crazy. Hey, I love the fact that he's throwing to the tight end. He's throwing a couple more passes to the middle of the field. Well, shit, dude. That's what NFL quarterbacks do. I get that, Sills, but Line could no longer take the punishment of Stoutland's scheme. That makes a lot of sense to me. So you think Jeff Stoutland wore that offensive line out? I thought the tush push was Nick Sirianni's idea. Was it the tush push Nick's idea? I thought I heard him take credit for that. I thought that was his idea. Didn't he say that? Sills, talking through this makes the Stowers pick worse. If you're going to run stretch from under center, why would you draft a flex tight end? Great take. Great take. That's a great. You know why, Bob? You know what the Stowers sounds to me, the pick? It sounds like they don't know what they're going to do in the future with their quarterback. So you're gonna, like you said, they want to run stretch plays with a guy who can't block, who you drafted in the second round, who's supposedly a tight end. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Let's run the stretch play with a tight end who can't block. And now you're forced to keep Contender on the team, who can't block. I mean, hey, let me draft a dude. Okay? Let me draft a guy who can't block. And now has been hit by the NFL sniper. Psst, take a dive. First 4 games, you're inactive. Hey, first 4 games, you're inactive? You might as well put that guy on the season-ending injured reserve list. The Eagles would be better off putting that guy on the injured reserve list for the entire season. And go get a tight end that can block. And maybe catch a little bit too. Sills, if Dak was the Eagles quarterback in 24, do you think that would have been one of the best balanced offenses ever in NFL history? Those are so hard, dude, to do. Putting a guy on another team. The teams are built around the strengths and weaknesses of a quarterback. In Dallas, the Dallas offense is built around Dak's presence in the pocket. The Eagles offense is built around Barkley and the offensive line. That's what it's built around. The Eagles have never been a passing football team. Maybe with McNabb a little bit. Nick did say that, but my question is, why did they take running responsibilities away from Stout? This ain't a knock on Stout. I'm just saying the organization decided to run the ball with another scheme the way it looks to me. Marsh, it's the $19.99 question. I don't get it. And they want to put Hurts under center. Something that will kind of hinder him, but help Barkley. Let me tell you something. Hey, Marsh, you think this is the new do you think this is the reason really that AJ wanted out? Is because they didn't want to improve the pass game? Look at the guys they hired. They hired 4s and 5s. You think that really helps the passing game? They haven't done anything to help the passing game. Putting a guy under center helps the run game. 86% of the time, Marsh, Hurts has been in shotgun. Now you're going to take that away too from him, and you're going to put him under center. And what I saw last week with McKee was something that I really was like, well, wait. Tanner McKee can't play under center. It's why he went in the 6th round. AJ didn't like Nick in the passing game, was mid. Well, because the passing game being mid is because Nick's emphasis is on the run game. It's not on the passing game. Don't you get it, Flex? That's why you can hire an inexperienced offensive passing coordinator. He doesn't have to be great. They just have to be efficient running the ball. If you want to be a really good passing team, you hire a good passing coordinator. You don't hire a guy who's never done it. But if you want to improve your run game, okay. I don't have a problem with an inexperienced guy. I'm telling you, this backup quarterback, they can't even land on the backup quarterback, tells me a lot of the direction of where they're going this season. Boy, I'll tell you what, man. They're really putting a lot of Jalen Hurts in his plate. And I'll tell you what else they're doing. They're taking more things away from him to be successful as a passing quarterback. You took AJ away. Now you want to put him under center? He's better in gun. All the good quarterbacks in the NFL that are successful are good in gun. Now you want to take that away too? That's pretty crazy. But I get it. They're not trying to improve Jalen. That's not a $63 million quarterback. So this is crazy. This is a crazy take. Don't rip me, but Howie, always looking ahead, seems to be changing the scheme. He is banking on a D to carry the team at 26. He is thinking tank arch. No. One thing I'll say this to you about the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they'll do some sketchy shit like they did to Doug in that Washington game at the end of the year in 2020. But them wanting to lose, I don't subscribe to that. I don't believe that. They've been too good, too long. It is a lot about winning. Now, they will How about this, though, Mr. Hill? I think they would sacrifice a couple wins for the long game. By the way, the 11-6 season of a year ago, and depends on what happens this year, might be the 2 steps back to take 3 steps forward. Who knows? And they'll be ready to prime it up in 28. I have more confidence in Howie rebuilding the team in 3 years than I do in Hurts winning a Super Bowl in 3 years. Don't you? So I don't think Hurts being under center 5% more than he already does is going to hurt Hurts. It's giving the offense more diversity and keep the defense guessing a bit more. Yeah, but you're keeping the defenses. But I'm not – Jalen under center doesn't scare me. What do you think? He's going to turn into what? Joe Burrow? Hurts under center is a cosmetic look that doesn't scare D coordinators. Hurts in shotgun, seeing the field, and maybe taking off, I'm more cognizant of that. Hurts turning his back to the defense, I'm not concerned with that. That doesn't frighten me for a guy who's never done it. That doesn't make me schematically change my defense because the guy's under center. As a matter of fact, it makes me more aggressive. If we tank, I want Jeremiah. You're not tanking, dude. The Eagles are not a tanking franchise. Tanking franchises are like the Browns, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Titans, at times the Jags. Those shitty franchises, those are the teams that tank. Eagles aren't in that tanking. Not a tank franchise. Dolphins. Yeah. Those teams that are constantly shitty. Eagles don't do that. Sills, I disagree with you, okay? Inexperienced coaches don't work under Nick Sirianni. Experienced coaches worked. 22, 24, 23, 25. Inexperience. Didn't work. You're not wrong. Okay? Who said I thought it was going to work this year? That's why I got you 8-9. Well, get this. Here's my take with the Eagles. You got a top 10 roster. And I don't have you in my top 10 NFL teams. Because I think these coaches are in the way. Of all the years we've been covering you, this will be like the biggest leap I just don't see it. I think this is a football team this year that's going to win games, that people are going to be surprised they win. And I think these are going to be guys this year on that roster that you're going to lose games this year that you were shocked you lost. They have no choice but to tank. Dude, that's not a franchise that tanks. The Eagles don't tank. And by the way, the fan base would go ape shit if they got a sense they were tanking. That's not a tanking fan base. We're going to tank? Well, then everybody should be fired. Listen, if you're going to tank, you need to fire Jalen, Nick, and fire everybody. Mannion, everyone, except that defensive coaching staff. And that they're not, dude, they won 11 ball games. They won their division. They made it to the playoffs for the 5th straight year. That's not a tanking position to be in. And as I said too, I'm nowhere in anywhere have you ever heard me say, hey, it's time to move off of Hurts. I've never said that. We are so far away from that. I may be critical of him. You've never heard me say, sit him, bench him, put someone else in. I've never said that. I have never said that. Like, ever have I said that. Okay? Seals, now the camp has reached its end. Are you still? Yeah. Yeah. It's not that I don't believe in Jalen, or it's not that I don't believe in your roster. I don't believe in your offensive coaches. I don't believe Nick has the answers for this. It's not Barkley. It's not Devontae. Shit, it's not even Makai Lemon. It's who you got there calling this shit. You got Nick and Sean Mannion. I'm not buying it. Why would I buy it after I just watched a train wreck with Kevin Patullo? Why? Because you guys are giving Nick the benefit of the doubt of hiring another no-name guy? Good luck to you. And I don't mind your take. Someone will be wrong. I mean, Sills has never said to bench Hurts. This is true. WIP has, though. Those guys are idiots. Bench Hurts for who? Tanner McKee? Marcus Mariota? Sam Howell? Yeah, no. No, thank you. I have no interest in that. Hey, dude, if you're going to change a guy out, you better have another guy in mind. I'm not just changing you out for Nate Sudfeld. Jalen Hurts is not going to be changed out for Nate Sudfeld. That's not happening. Seals, they tanked before. Last two games. Yeah, I know. The Washington game. I got it. They sabotaged Doug Peterson at the end. Yes, they did. They sat all those healthy guys the last two games, especially that Washington game. And absolutely, it was a strict sabotage. Howie Roseman and the front office thought it was best to lose that game than win it. That tells you all you need to know about who's got the control of the team. That will never change with me. As a matter of fact, Tricks, that Washington game is why maybe I will always question a lot of things that come out of the Eagle front office. You know why? They sabotaged that game on purpose. They wanted to lose that game because the front office thought it was the best interest to lose it. And to Zander's point, that's Howie's call. Howie thought it was best to lose that game. And that's why he sat Jalen Hurts and put Nate Sudfeld in. What was that bullshit that Doug said? We want to see some of the other guys on the team. That's from the front office. The front office dictated and was responsible for that loss. Where you have a guy like Brian Flores was told to lose games at the end of the year with Miami. He said, how could I ever look my players in the face ever again if I had to tell them that we were going to do things or show things that we were going to lose games on purpose? How could I be a coach and connect with my players if I'm going to try to set up and sabotage my players' careers? But then again, that's not an Eagle thing. NFL teams do that all across the board. They'll pull players out, put lesser players in, so they could lose. You think all 32 teams, NFL teams, if you're not within striking distance of the playoffs at the end of the year, want to win? They don't want to win. It becomes more of a front office game. Where are we in the draft? Well, how more quality picks do we have? Shit, if you're out of the mix, by the time you get to mid-November, you're working on your NFL draft. You're not working on winning games. That's one of the cool things that the Eagles have not had to do. The Eagles are trying to win games and still looking at the future. Hard to do that shit, dude. Give Howie a lot of love for that. Doug believed in his guys. Front office wanted to change. It wasn't working anyway. We saw 4-win seasons after a couple barely over 500 ones. I think there was a lot more going on between who he wanted as a coaching staff. Hey, listen, that goes on in a lot of places. Guy wants to hire a certain coach. You don't hire a certain. Hey, so get this. Let me ask you this. You know when John McMullen says that Nick is in charge of all the hires? Was Doug Peterson in control of all the hires for his coaching staff? Was Doug in control of all the hires when Doug was the head coach of the Eagles? Was he? What was he? No. I doubt it. No. That's why he got fired. Well, then Rasputin. Why did Nick all of a sudden get that autonomy in year one? Why did he get the autonomy? What changed the Eagles' mentality that they would allow Nick to hire all the coaches when he got in the building? And after they went 9-8, why would the Eagles have changed for Nick after 9-8? If Nick makes all the hires, why did they trust Nick more with no experience as a head coach But they trust Nick to make all these hires, but not Doug. Doug had the experience working with Andy, won a Super Bowl, but you trusted Nick more? Based on what? Nick don't control nothing but his knees. Listen, what changed? Listen, maybe you can educate me. What changed? Maybe you think they hired a coach who went along with their suggestions? I'm not saying Nick did anything bad. Remember what Frank Reich said on this program. You want to coach here a long time? You got to work with the front office. Doug looked at the front office as people to help him, not vice versa. The front office today, the Eagles, they look at Nick and all the coaches to help them and their roster. You know, did you see that smirky look by Vic? Yeah, that's a Howie call. I don't know who picks the roster, you know. He was like, yeah, that's what Nick and Howie are going to do that. And, you know, I get pushback on that all the time, but hey, if you can't pick your own roster as an assistant coach, these are the 5 guys I want. Nope. We'll let you know if those are going to be the 5. I'll get back to you tomorrow. No, I want these 5 guys. No. I've got to think about wide receiver. I got to think about tight end. I got to think about safeties, special teams. Now, that's not uncommon for a coach to want more players at his group than the other guy. That argument and battle goes on all the time. So that's not that out of hand. Hey, I want 11 O-linemen. Well, you're only going to get 10. A coach does have to make that call with his GM. He does. Still's playing devil's advocate. Do you blame the Eagles front office? No. Especially after having Chip Kelly drive your franchise off a cliff and drive away great players. You know, Jimbo, I've always had a different take on that. After you got rid of Shady McCoy and after you got rid of Deshaun Jackson, 2 years later, you won a Super Bowl. So how detrimental was that in the overall landscape of them winning a Super Bowl? They won one without those guys. Every player is expendable. Every coach is expendable. Now, it's shitty for the fans, and especially the return. The linebacker guy you got from the Bills was stupid. It was a shit in the face of Shady. It totally was. And Chip's bedside manner is terrible. His bedside manner when he was at Oregon was questionable. Sills, how many from the current generation of coaches have full autonomy over rosters? Well, let's see. I think Sean McVay does. I think Andy does. I think Kyle Shanahan picked Trent. What's his name? Trey Lance. Funny, I'm naming you to success. I don't think the guy in Seattle does. I don't. I think when you have really high-powered GMs, I don't think D'Amico Ryans does. Think of the best general managers in football. Howie, John Schneider, Seattle, Brian Gutekunst in Green Bay, Nick Caserio in Houston, Eric DeCosta in Baltimore, Brett Veach in Kansas City. That's a different dynamic. Why? Andy Reid brought Brett Veach. Brett Veach was a special teams coach in Philly years and years ago in the early 2000s. He brought him up through his special teams, through the defensive side, and then he put him in personnel. That's a relationship that Andy has grown. By the way, Les Snead, Kevin Demoff, yeah. You got to remember something about Brett Veach in Kansas City. What was the one move that Andy made when he got to Kansas City right away? They blew out John Dorsey. John Dorsey was the guy that found Mahomes, not Brett Veach. It was John Dorsey. John Dorsey is a great personnel guy. His bedside manner, it blows. He's a terrible guy to talk to. He got blown out in Cleveland. He's the guy that brought Myles Garrett there. I think John Lynch is okay. Sills, that's one of the many things that changed with Jerry Jones this year. We gave Shadi say on who's the defensive coordinator was going to be, plus who his defensive coaches would be. That has changed a little bit, but I think that has more to do with Stephen Jones. Dude, listen, if you're going to shop for the talent on your team as a head coach, if you want me to build a football team and build a really great culture, shouldn't I be able to build a culture with the player? Get this. You guys tell me this all the time about the Eagles. Is that Howie's culture or Nick's culture with all the players? If they're Howie's players, how could it be Nick's culture? If I'm hiring people that got personalities like me. I'm hiring people that are loyal. I'm hiring people that are dedicated to their job. I'm hiring people that don't take fucking days off, that don't take segments off, that don't take anything. I'm hiring people that are committed to their gig. I'm hiring commitment. Those are the people I dig. Well, how can I do that? And by the way, you know why Zander and I get along? Because he's the same fucking way. Dude, do your job. Days off. Shit. You know what I get every holiday from him? And I don't mind it, by the way. Hey, Sills, it's Christmas. Eagles are playing on Christmas. Fuck. That's part of it. 10 toes up, bitch. All right, here we go. Wife's giving me shit now about that last one. My wife's giving me shit about that last one. All right. Without further ado, we bring in our boy, Big Z, Zander Krause. How you doing, bro?
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brothers? Good to be with you on this football Friday, my friend.
How's it going, my friend? What's going on here, man? I mean, what are you looking for tonight?
I'm looking for Makai Lemon. I'm looking for a little Cole Payton. And I'm looking for Sean Mannion. Where's he going to be? Is he back to the sideline or the box, Big Sills? All right. I don't know. We'll see.
Who's going to be your backup quarterback?
I'm going to put my money on Tanner McKee. That's where I'd put my wager. But I don't know if that's how it's going to go. They don't seem to like him anymore, do they?
No.
No, they don't. And they're going to go with Andy Dalton, who I think he's got a rubber arm. He's got it's like a rubber band. I have a couple rubber bands around here. It's like a rubber band, his arm. So I think that's a problem, but I don't know. They seem to like him more than they like Tanner at this point, but we'll see where it goes. I'm still going to bet on Tanner, but I'd feel more comfortable with Tanner, personally.
Okay, so they're going to put the quarterback under center more this coming season. Do you agree?
Well, I think they got to do things to try and get more out of this offense. And I think they feel as though what they were doing became, too stale and wasn't working good enough. So they're trying to add, wrinkles to it. I'm more with you where, teams don't necessarily and aren't necessarily going to fear that from Hurts, from a sense of you watch Peyton Manning walk to the line of scrimmage and you watch them dissecting your defense. That's what gave you fear. When you watch Jalen line up, when he's in the shotgun and can see the field, and then you got to account for him on 3rd and long with his legs, that's what I think the number one part of his game has been in terms of striking fear in the defenses. And you put him under center and you take some of that away. Now, where I'm still wondering is to what degree are they under center? Because if it's 30 to 40%, I think that's a welcome. I think that's a good thing, because that's not overdoing it. It's not overcooking it. It's not taking Hurts out of where he, presents that kind of thing for a defense. But how much do they do it? I don't know. Part of me wonders if it's been a little bit overstated here in the offseason.
86% of the time Hurts has been in shotgun since he's been a starting quarterback. And he's excelled.
86, is that right?
86% of the time he's been in the gun. Why would they take one of the things he does well, being in shotgun, away to put him under center unless it was just to help the run game? You take him out of that, and you're taking one more weapon away from him that he excels at to put him in under center, where, quite frankly, guess what? That's not something he does great or hasn't.
Yeah, and it's not like they outfitted him with the best weapons on the outside now, did they?
Right, now they're taking
it's
AJ
one thing to
out
go
of that.
under center and say, hey, I got AJ and Devontae, man. Just let the ball go. Now you got Makai Lemon, who's lemon drop no longer. He can't. Lemon pepper is reserved until the Makai Lemon does something, everybody. I had I think it was Flex, and there he is. Lemon pepper better stepper. Flex. Lemon pepper is an elite flavor of wing from Wingstop. You don't call him lemon pepper until he earns it. Right now, he's lemon drop, all right? Or like lemon mojito or something. I don't know what you want to call him. But, Jalen's got Lemon. He's got Wicks, I thought he was the fourth receiver. John told me he was the fifth receiver in Green Bay last year.
He was the fifth.
So let's see. I mean, let's see what it looks like. Sean's going to have to do some things, and Jalen's going to have to really do some things to play better this year too.
How about this, Z? So you are going to not have AJ. Sean is a first-year play caller, and Rasputin said something that was really interesting that I'm going to start adding to my dialogue here. Could he have gotten to a point where the Eagles just went like this? What's there to develop? Let's develop what we do best and what we're known for. We're going to do everything to get the run game going. Maybe they think Hurts' ability to be able to spread the ball around. Why would I go down that lane to try to do that when I can fix the run game more and easier than I can fix a passing game? The passing game also goes against risk averse.
All right.
If I'm going to run the ball more, I got a better shot of not turning the ball over than I do throwing the ball, right? That's just common knowledge.
Yeah, right.
So maybe they surrendered on developing Hurts.
Well, I read an article somebody had sent me on X, and the many people probably would not like the article. It's a very big Sills article, I'll tell you that much. But it was interesting because it's easy to make the case for why the Eagles would not move on from Jalen, from a sense of how much he's accomplished and how much the team has accomplished and what the owner has said about him and all those different things. But, similarly, if you wanted to take the contrarian point of view, as Big Sills often does, or as some might who aren't Jalen Hurts fans, there is kind of a lot of things in the chamber that would show you that the Eagles are not bought into Jalen Hurts past this season. Starting with the contract, I think it's revisionist history for them to act like they always knew what they had in Jalen Hurts. After 2021, they basically tried to swap him out.
They had the 2-1s. They had the 2-1s going into that year.
And then if you remember, Sills, when they couldn't get Watson and Russ, they traded to the future.
Correct.
To make sure they had an extra one in 22 after that season as well. And that's when Jalen almost forced their hand in a way because he played so good. He was an MVP candidate, and they went to the Super Bowl, and, the world was his oyster, and rightfully so. The Eagles paid him up. Now we get to this point where it slowly kind of has gone further away from him. They removed, in a way, Jalen's closest tie to the organization personally, which was Brian Johnson. They cut him out. They brought in a completely different style in Kellen Moore, shifted to a Saquon Barkley-led offense, and now you have this sign that they're trying to run this offense that's really just not suited for a player with Jalen Hurts' skill set. So I'm not insinuating that that's the route they're going, What I'm insinuating is that there is evidence on both sides for the way this thing could go, and only the Eagles really know the way that they're leaning right now. But to me, Jalen Hurts has to have a big year, to extend his run here in Philadelphia. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. And Lamage, I would agree with you 100%. It did pay off. I mean, and Jalen earned it. But I'm talking about future, and if you add up some of the things they've done the last couple of years, Sills, not from a lens of the team, from the lens of the quarterback, it's not necessarily things that are done to act like they have their eggs in the Jalen Hurts basket. And typically the way teams operate when you have a franchise quarterback is you cater everything around him and everything else falls where it may. Look at what the Bills try and do for Josh. Now they don't get him all the playmakers he needs, but it's his team. Oh, you don't like the coach? We'll give you Joe Brady. Everything is tailored around the star quarterback. And it doesn't feel like they've done that for Jalen Hurts the last couple of years. And, it was the smart thing to do if they were invested in him would have been to pay him this summer because those contracts are only going up. So they've essentially put him in a year where this is his final year of guarantees. And what do they do moving forward now? I don't exactly know. We'll have to find out.
I'll tell you what, you just brought the greatest topic up I've ever heard.
Oh gosh. That's not good. Look at this. I'm standing. I haven't done a show standing with you, maybe ever.
Hey, listen. So do you think they've tailored this team the last 5 years after Jalen or Nick?
Well, I think Nick's made decisions, but, in a way, they've taken the ball more out of Hurts' hands.
But look at the people they've hired. Look at the decisions they've made. They've been more for Nick, not for Hurts.
Sure. Well, the only place there I disagree with you is that there's a chance there for the organization.
Who have they hired for Jalen?
Oh, nobody. I mean, even the quarterback. Remember this summer he posted a picture with the dude they fired.
Yeah, Scott Loeffler.
And Jalen is a very intentional person. All the beat guys say that, and I think it's true. Jalen didn't post that for no reason. They fired the guy and hired a new quarterbacks coach, and Jalen's posting with the dude they fired. I mean, come on, that's weird. So, we'll see.
Why are you so intrigued with Cole? Why do you want to see him?
I like him.
What's his name? Cole Hamill? What's his name?
Cole Payne. Look at this asshole. Jimbo, I have stood up one day in the last 4 years of doing content, and this guy's on my head in day one. Yo, Jimbo, are you kidding me, Jimbo? Don't make me take you to the cleaners on this football Friday. What do you mean, why am I excited to see Cole Payton? I like him. The guy's got great athleticism. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's got a long way to go in terms of developing for the NFL quarterback, but we're in the middle. We're in week 3 of the preseason.
Why'd they take him, you think?
I think they like him. I mean, I don't know. They took a 6th-round quarterback. Why'd they take Kyle McCord last year?
I'm just asking.
I don't think there's anything deeper to the Cole Payton stuff, but I think he can provide some more entertainment for preseason week 3. I actually think the kid could play if he develops, but my only problem with him is he's a lefty. Lefty quarterback's tough.
What's the last quarterback you think they've developed and turned into like a superstar quarterback that throws insanely from the pocket? He's a great player from the pocket. He's not if there's ever a system quarterback, it's your boy. You tell me, Jalen. Oh my God. Total system guy. Oh my God. Hey, you sit over here, son. And we're going to play over here.
Yeah, but don't for a system guy, where I would disagree with you there is system guys are typically supposed to be able to run, the system in their own way. Jalen's not that player. Jalen is more of a playmaker himself. So he relies on, in some ways, plays breaking down, things of that nature. I mean, Brock Purdy's a system guy because Kyle runs what he wants to run, and Brock is strong enough or good enough from the pocket to execute it. I don't think Jalen's that guy.
Let me ask you, let me go over the last 34 games. and I know where people are going to go with this. Can you name me one game that you went, wow, with Jalen Hurts in the last 34 games?
Does that rule out the 22 season, I guess, the last 34? Is that the last 2 years? 25, yeah. 24? No. Super Bowl. And NFC Championship?
Okay, Super Bowl.
I wouldn't even say that, but he had a good game.
No, I thought he was good in the Super Bowl. I didn't think he was exceptional. I thought 22 he was.
That was a big. I mean, he had some big throws in that game, dude. He had a great throw to Jahan Dotson on the right side. He had a great throw to Devontae Smith in the dagger. I mean, he made the throws. He made the throws he needed to make.
Stats, Super Bowl.
Don't be unfair.
No, I'm not. Let's see here. He was 17 to 22 for 222, 221, 2 TDs and a pick, 77 yards rushing. And, yeah, I mean, I thought the Super Bowl he lost, he was exceptional in. But that Super Bowl, 17 to 22, sure. I'm all right. I like the 73 yards rushing more because he gets more impact from me with that. Zander, when I'm a coordinator, I don't give a shit about 17 to 22 with Jalen Hurts, 2 touchdowns and a pick. 73 yards rushing with the 222, I give a shit about that because that's backbreaking shit on third down. That's the shit
when's the last time we've seen that?
That's what I'm saying. Because when I'm hey, dude, I swear to God, and I keep bringing this up to you, and I will say this to you, I have never seen a quarterback in my entire life. Do you remember that second game of the year in 2022? I think it was Detroit. And you guys went up there and played Detroit. How many times in that game was Jalen Hurts 3rd and 11? 3 or 4? And that fucker was just getting those yards. And you know what I liked what he did? I remember he did this play. He's running towards the sidelines. You know what he did? He just threw it out of bounds. And I was like, this kid gives a shit about field position. This kid gives a shit about winning. Because the thing that Shedeur Sanders will do, he'll eat that bitch because he doesn't want a high percentage to his completion percentage to go down. Those are selfish players. When you see a guy take a sack, Hurts takes his sacks for different reasons. You know what that is? He doesn't want a turnover. He'd rather take a
but
sack.
I've also seen him diving behind the line of scrimmage recently or sitting on his ass.
Yeah, well, that's a business. That's a business call.
That's a business decision, right?
That's a business call there. Hey, why are you so optimistic that this offense is going to be?
Whoa.
Do you think it's going to be high powered?
I never said that.
All right, but you're not optimistic about
it. Yeah, they have to prove it. I mean, they don't get that benefit. I mean, they have to prove it. I like the potential. I like some of the things I've seen, but I'm nowhere near being able to say that. I do feel better than you do, but I also see it differently because I'm not looking for this crazy explosion offense. They got to run the ball better on first down. Hurts us to be more efficient. They have to move the sticks more effectively, more consistently. They need to extend drives. And if they do that with the defense, they're going to be a great football team. So I'm not looking at this like it's got to come out here and start, dice teams up for 400 yards a game. I don't think that needs to be the case at all. How many games do you think the Eagles would have won last year if they fixed one stat? Just the 3-and-outs. Let's 14. Say they went from worst in the league to 12th in the league.
14.
Considering how good they were in the red zone? And
how good your defense would have finished 5th. And you would have had 3 14-win teams inside of 5 years, which is unbelievable. But then again, you were poor.
And you're going to move on from that quarterback?
If that quarterback is just part of the cog of it, and, well, you didn't fix it, so it's a hypothetical. Well, I don't know. You haven't fixed it this year yet. I don't know. But last year, when he was counted on, he couldn't do it. Okay? I mean, he couldn't. Am I wrong when I say that? None of them. None of them could do it. Hey, by the way, this Nick Sirianni this year in 2026, you think there's more pressure on Nick right now? Not to get this wrong?
I mean, he's got pressure. You always have pressure in Philly.
Okay. Well, you're right. So if he goes 11-6, wins a division, gets bounced in the opening round, they're firing him.
He's not. Nah, he won't be fired. Nah.
Yeah. Well, then they didn't fix anything.
Yeah, but they're not firing him for winning the division and going to the playoffs for a 6th straight year. There's no way.
Then that's right. How will they treat the quarterback if they go 11-6?
Well, that's a different conversation because of the contract situation. I think they would extend out fully next year, or fully guarantee next year's contract.
And Nicole Lynn would play the 2027 season with no future money after 27.
What you going to do?
That's a great question. What do you think Jalen's thinking right now about his future in Philly? You know, Tom Brady.
I'd like to think that.
Wait. Listen, Tom Brady did this at the end of his time in New England. He went like this. You know what? They're not doing all the things they need to do for me. And he walked over to Bob Kraft's house. They lived next door to one another, and he was in tears. And he said,
"Appreciate the comp, but."
Well, I'm just saying, Tom Brady left.
Yeah, Tom Brady's Tom Brady.
Well, if Tom Brady can leave, Jalen Hurts can leave.
You're not wrong, but I'm just saying. I mean, Tom Brady's got more leeway to say they're not doing what I want them to do. You win 6 rings, yeah, you can start to demand what you want them to do.
Well, when I got a no trade too, I can get to do this. Hey,
well, so are you of the belief that he would demand a trade if they're not willing to give him an extension?
What would you do?
I don't know. I'm not an agent or a player.
If I went to my team and said, I want to get a 3-year contract this coming off season, we just won 11-6, won a division again. And for the first time in a long time, 3 times we did this in a row. I can't think the last 3-time NFC East champion. I can't remember the last time that happened. And all of a sudden, you look at that record in the get this.
I don't think Jeffrey Lurie.
You win 61
I don't think
games.
Jeffrey Lurie's as headstrong as you think.
Oh, so you think he'd relent and take a knee and give it to Hurts?
Yeah. You get you win 3 straight NFC East titles, 6 straight playoff appearances. Jeffrey Lurie's going to say
for the same result of a year ago, you're going to pay.
I think Jeffrey Lurie will okay it before Howie would okay it.
So wait.
In other words, I think Jeffrey Lurie would call Howie into the office and say, "All right, Howard, what are you doing with my quarterback?" And Howie would say, I was going to wait and see. And Jeffrey's going to say, no, you're not.
So the same result would get him a $63 million deal of a year ago.
Sills, this is the way NFL contracts work. Are you more comfortable? Do you believe that the Eagles would have more success if they the following year? I'm not talking about in the future. I'm talking about the following year. If they go 11-6 this year, and they got, let's just say they did what you're saying, and Jalen, they don't want to pay Jalen, and he's going to demand a trade. Would they be as successful the following year? Because this is the gamble that Howie and Nick would take. Because if they don't, and they're not more successful, well, now Jeffrey Lurie has a big problem with the dudes who thought they knew it all.
Depends on what the options are. What are my options? Baker Mayfield? I don't think so.
No, thank you.
32 years old. I'm not there. Depending on what Baker does this year, I think Baker's going to have a lot of suitors.
You want Mac Jones?
I'm not replacing Jalen Hurts for Mac Jones.
I'm with you.
Okay. And I'm
just saying, you're talking about a gamble.
I'm not going into the draft either because I don't see anybody.
No matter what the Big Sills and the Big Sills Army say, replacing a quarterback that's won this much optically is a very hard thing to do. The pure optics of it are tough. Your most average fan that has no idea X's and O's, doesn't understand. They just love to watch the Eagles on Sunday. They're a fan. They tune in for all the games. They're going to say this. What the heck? We got rid of Jalen Hurts. The team's never won more in my life. It's an optical hurdle to move on from Jalen Hurts. Whether people want to admit that or not, I don't really care. That's the objective truth. It's a tough thing to do. And by the way, this is an organization that cares very much about optics.
Okay, but this is an organization that also cares about optics on how they're perceived.
That's
not how the players are perceived.
No, that's precisely
because
what I'm saying.
The players are the second. They're the pawns in this thing.
Dude.
They're the meat in this.
When they got rid of Carson and Doug, people were pissed. They won 4 games that year. You're telling me if they win 11 ball games, the coach and the quarterback are on the hot seat? Dude, I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it.
I love you went there.
There's no way.
I love you went there. So, Doug Peterson, in your opinion, Doug Peterson, when he was the head football coach, why do you think that guy got fired?
Well, he wanted more control.
Okay. Why did the Eagles give Nick more control?
They didn't.
Okay.
What do you mean? You say it every day on the show when you badger Nick Sirianni.
Okay, so right.
This is the Eagles. This is the organization.
Okay.
You know, you got to take it for what it is.
Well, then why does John think that Nick makes the hires?
Well, because I think, he almost pseudo does make the hires, but it's like one of those things where it's like.
Pick from these 4.
The illusion of power, right?
I got
it.
I got it.
It's like the illusion of power.
I got it. Pick from these 4.
Pick from, maybe not even that. Hey, we and then they still have to okay it once he picks. And if he picks the wrong one, they're gonna poo-poo it and say, nope, you got to pick this guy. So I don't know. I mean, what's that old saying? You give the rat a little bit of cheese and he just keeps going on the wheel. It's like that.
That's what old Nicky is, the rat on the wheel.
I'm telling you right now, you're not factoring that in enough.
What he
plays
the game?
That is a tough thing for this team to do to their fan base. Win 11 ball games, go to the 6 straight playoffs, and all of a sudden you're going to swap out the coach and the quarterback? Yeah, good freaking luck. People on the Sileo show who are diehard Eagle fans, P1s I call them, the greatest Eagle fans there are, who have the most knowledge of the game of any Eagle fan. But your average person who's walking into the link on Sunday, your average suburban mom who's got her Eagles jersey, the grandma who watches with her grandkids every weekend, they don't understand football like that. They're going to be like, what the fuck? Why would we get rid of Jalen Hurts? They care about those people.
Now that you're going down this lane here with your boy Nick, you don't think because the guy's got a better win percentage and he's a better coach than, say, a Bill Parcells or like a Dick Vermeil or somebody. Okay.
No, it's a different coach for a different time and a different team.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And the environment.
I don't think he's a better coach, though. No.
Okay. So is that Nick's environment or Howie's environment that's in the Eagle locker room?
I think Nick, because Howie doesn't.
But those are Howie's guys.
I know, but because you know how players are with GMs. Like, they can turn on you at any moment. Like, players, I think, have always keep an arm length from the GM just from a sense of that's the guy who loves me until he doesn't, and will ship me wherever he needs to. The coach, I think, is the one who actually builds the relationships, especially in Philly. It's like Jimmy Johnson, it might have been different because he did everything. Bill Belichick, it was different because he did everything. The players in Philly know that Howie Roseman's making the personnel decisions.
Okay.
So I think Nick is the one who sets that because Howie can't get that close to the players as much as he wants to. And that's why he always, whenever there's a camera around, you'll see him like loving up on a player. Yeah, love you. Yeah. Like, dude, believe me, they walk away rolling their eyes.
I think it's good cop, bad cop in Philly.
Yeah, a little bit of it is.
I think it's Nick.
I think Nick, how about this?
I think Nick's the stopgap guy between the GM and the owner. And I think Nick's the guy that the players go to and say, hey, what do you think? And he goes, listen, this is what they're thinking. This is what we need to do. And I think he's the guy in the middle because That's Howie's roster, bro.
How about this? Nick is an elite head coach for the way the Eagles are set up. Because if you exercise any of the tendencies that someone like you loves to see in a head coach, guess what? You're not going to be the head coach in Philly much longer.
I like leaders.
Eagles don't. They want yes men.
I don't want regional managers. I want leaders. I'm a leader
Nick performs well within the role he's given or allowed to have.
He's like a section chief.
Yeah, but you can't blame my problem with it is you can't blame that on Nick. Now you could say he shouldn't have taken a head coaching job and not taken the job.
I would have taken it.
Exactly. So now it's almost smarter because he's like, he took the job and now he's done what he figured out the system and how to play the system so that he doesn't go anywhere and win while doing it. So good old Big Sills is calling him a stiff on YouTube, and he doesn't give a rat's ass because his $15 million checks keep coming.
Oh, Bob Lane cares. Trust me. I heard something today. Believe
Bobby
me.
boy.
Oh, I heard something today. By the way, I have my final
What'd
list.
you hear? You got to share it.
Okay. Well, Jerry Cobb was over at the facility. And
they're not trying to nix him coming on the show.
Well,
Are
they said something to him because he's over at Fox 29. He goes.
Well, he did. He was pretty harsh on a couple of his recent interviews.
And he comes over and he goes, "Damn, hearing you're really critical of like Sean Mannion and a little bit of
Lemon?
and Lemon, and I'm surprised he's a Southern Cal guy." And Gary goes, "Where'd you hear that from?" He goes, "That Sileo show thing." And I said, he said the Sileo show thing. I said, "Oh, really?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I got to tell you too, man, the way I look at it, I think Nick and them guys, I think they watch your show." And I was like, "Oh, that's good to know."
Oh, they definitely watch the show.
And so I'm like, he goes,
I'm waiting for them to let me in. I mean, I glaze this team more than any team I've ever glazed in my life.
I don't think you're
I don't think you're over the top. I lie to myself how much I fucking
I don't think you're over the top, though. I don't.
Oh, I glaze this team. I think everybody. I think every single.
Well, I don't think 50 and 18's glazing, dude. I think that's proper kudos.
No, I agree, but I've given them their credit for that. I think every single beat reporter this year, every single one, is carrying the Eagles' water.
Yes.
Not a single one of them.
Yes.
Has properly addressed.
Yes.
The offseason that Howie had, the rookie players underperforming at camp, the dysfunctional hire of Sean Mannion, and the approach to the system. There's not a single one. Oh,
even Jeff McClain.
They all of them. John included. I talk to John about it all the time. At least John's very honest with me. He's like, "Dude, I need my credential."
All right, Z, I got to show you something here. You ready? You know what this is? Hold on. Watch this.
You sniping?
Yep, I'm going to snipe him. There's Eli Stowers. Bang! Holy cow! There he is.
People are going to take that the wrong way.
I got the NFL injury sniper. Sniper alert. Sniper alert. And you know what it means?
No, it's like the tranquilizer. You ever had a raccoon in your backyard?
Yeah, like a tranquilizer. It's a tranquilizer gun.
You got the tranquilizer gun.
It's the tranquilizer gun. Bang! 4 weeks. He's out. IR. Put that compression sleeve on. Holy shit. Your boy's so sorry.
No, they didn't even tell him. But dude, he showed up at his locker one day and there was 2 compression sleeves hanging in his locker with a little note. With a little note. These must be worn today at practice by you. You will not be practicing.
Let me tell you how that happened to me once. And I fucked it up. So Kevin O'Neill, the trainer of the Dallas Cowboys, comes to me and goes like this in the Oiler game. "We want you to take a dive. We're going to put you on IR because you're calf and whatever." Do you know what my dickhead did? There was 2 minutes left in the game. Kevin's going like this. Look, I don't go down. "You motherfucker, you fucked up a roster. Butch Davis, my wife was in a grocery store. Butch come up to me and go, "You fucked that up. You fucked yourself up. You fucking," and I was, dude, all I had to do was just go down. I'd have paid $145,000. I'd have been on the Cowboys. I would have been able to take my calf. I would have been able, all of that. And I screwed it up because I wouldn't go down. They gave me a $75,000 buyout or some shit like that. And dude, I got to tell you, man, Howie Roseman's offseason has been awful.
It hasn't been his best so far. But you do you agree to this? It's not conclusive yet.
Okay, so you've got a hurt or whatever, Makai Lemon. You've got a whatever.
Wait a second, though. What if the Eagles have 55 sacks this year and Jonathan Grenard's a double-digit sack guy?
Okay.
What if Jahad Campbell is a Pro Bowl linebacker?
Okay, well, that's
what if Tariq Woolen is a Pro Bowl cornerback?
Oh, you're right. I'm just
saying. Well, you can't make a proclamation.
Wait,
on how
right now on August
28th.
Well, wait a second. You could say this. The offseason has been filled with this. The first two draft choices look terrible. Jonathan Grenard's injured, and you've hired wide receiver 5s to replace A.J. Brown.
Wide receiver 5s. Let me lower my desk so these guys stop hating. Let me pull the chair over. He lowered his badass.
Wide receiver.
Down 5. We go, Mr. Sileo.
Wide receiver.
Down Jesus we go.
There you go. Now you look like Nick. Now you look like.
There we go.
Wait, now you look like Nick down there.
There we go. I still tower over your ass.
Hey, now you look like Nick. Hey, do you know that that's what coaches do? You know the chair in front of you, the chair in front when you bring the players in? The coach's chair is always higher than the player's chair.
Is that right? I could see Nick doing that.
Oh, Jimmy did it all the time.
Yeah.
Jimmy would be above.
Well, Jimmy's like what, 5'8"?
He's like 5'9", something like that. Yeah, he ain't very big. 5'10" or something like that. I got a new list. You want to hear it?
Sure.
Oh, by the way, here's my take on your team you're playing tonight, the Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to be pretty good this year.
I don't. You're a Joe Burrow super fan. Guys got to stay healthy.
This is potentially, in my opinion, the best offense that Joe Burrow has had since he's been in Cincinnati. Do you know they've never finished higher than 6th in EPA plays since Joe Burrow's been there? Ever. And you know why? The stupid sacks. He took 50 sacks last season. You can't be an efficient team if you're taking sacks.
Yeah, it's because his team blows. His offensive line stinks.
I think this is the best unit that they've had since he's been there. And that includes the year that they went to the Super Bowl. They added that Dylan Fairchild, that Amarius Mims kid. I think was pretty good. There's some collective pieces. And on the other side of the football, I think they do when they add Dexter Lawrence to the mix. I think that football team's got some better football players on it. And if they could just keep him up, again, the key's going to be upright. If Burrow plays 15 games this year,
yeah, I agree with that.
They could be in the AFC Championship game, dude.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but I mean, is he going to stay upright? Is his offensive line good enough?
Who would you take, the Bengals offense or the Chiefs offense?
Well, I mean, the Bengals have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow.
Whose offense would you take? The Chargers or the Bengals?
Yeah, but that's a perfect example of why Joe Burrow is not on Patrick Mahomes' level, as good as he is.
They've improved both lines this offseason. Now, you got to walk out and play on.
Who's going to win the AFC?
I'm going to do that right now. So, I got the Bills winning the East.
We got to revisit this Jalen Hurts conversation, too, because we left that way out in yonder.
What do you mean?
Well, is Hurts going to request a trade if they don't give him money?
Yeah.
Is that what your take is next summer?
Yeah. Why, dude? If I win 11 ball games and I win another division title, and you want to guarantee me the 27th season
with no extra money?
With no extra money?
Is he through 28 or 27?
Dude, but it's not guaranteed money.
I know. What if they guarantee the rest of his contract? Yeah, it runs through 28, remember?
Yeah, but
they have
no guaranteed money.
Their potential out is after the 27 season.
Right. The last year with 20, they would have to add another.
What if they fully guarantee 27 and 28?
No, thank you. Baker Mayfield turned down a $51 million contract in Tampa for 2 years.
Woo! It's about to get interesting, Sileo.
Especially if he wins.
I don't know that I'd let him walk. I don't know.
Now, would Hurts bow at 60?
I think some fans are too in love with the way it looks, honestly.
Hey, would Hurts bow at 60? Or 57? Listen, here.
60 for what, though?
How about this? Would you take a contract like this? Tell you what, I won't take the 63, but I will take this. 3 years, 90% of the contract is fully guaranteed. 85% of the contract is fully guaranteed. Remember, I want the for sure money, not the promise money. Promise money's no. Dude, that's why the Deshaun. You know why the Cleveland Browns have to start Watson? They cut him now. $87 million goes on the dead cap hit.
Imagine if he was still good, how much of a bargain that would be.
Man. God, I'll bet that guy throws for 38 touchdowns this year and he throws for 4,000 yards. I know he's good.
He ain't that guy anymore.
Would he request it? Well, I'm not going to sit around and have you dictate my future, especially when I have a no trade in my contract. Nicole Lynn's not going for that. You're going to give us a 3-year contract at $60 million. And as a matter of fact, over the last 5 years.
Would you take CJ Stroud?
I have no interest in that, dude.
Me neither. I could see Hurst liking Houston, though.
I could see the Texans organization loving that guy.
Oh, yeah.
AstroTurf, too.
Jalen would win there, too.
He would. He'd win in Minnesota, too.
Jalen would win with that defense in Houston, though.
Yeah, you put him up in Minnesota with Addison and Jefferson and with Brian Flores as your D coordinator, it's like Vic all over again. Dude, that head coach is a good play caller up there. He's just not going to go anywhere with Kyler Murray. I don't want to do this to my quarterback. I don't want to do this with my quarterback. Well, he went 9-8 last year with stiff quarterbacks.
I think O'Connell's a little overrated.
Dude, there were decisions being made underneath him that he had no control of because of that dumbass GM he had. Here's who I got in the AFC. I got the Bills winning the East, Bengals winning the North, Indianapolis.
I don't like the Bengals winning the North.
Indianapolis
for you to say that?
Winning the South.
You just a Joe Burrowite?
No, because they're doing other things. They're adding to the roster finally.
Who?
Dexter Lawrence, 3 new offensive linemen they've added to the mix.
All right.
Did you see Nick Sirianni in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow if he got fired here? Cincinnati would hire him. Duke Tobin loves Nick Sirianni, and so does Mike Brown. I will tell you this. They will fire that guy in that room. Sirianni with Joe Burrow. I'd want to see that. Nick would get that job and he'd win there. He'd win there and you know what? Burrow would excel there with
Would that make you change your perspective on Nick?
What's changed?
No, you'd say he's a caboose.
No. Here.
You just don't like Nick. Admit it. He was supposed to come on your show when you first came to Philly.
No.
He answered all your texts. Bob Lang found out, listened to your show a couple days and said, Nick, delete the guy's number. You're never going on his show. And he stopped answering you.
No, it's because I said something about Roseman and Associates.
Yes, it is. Remember, they called us and said they were going to report you to the who's the people who handle anti-Semitism?
The Jewish thing, yeah.
They were going to report Sileo. They called us and threatened us to take down a clip because they were going to report Sileo for anti-Semitism. That's what they called us and said.
Wait, do me a favor.
I'll never forget it. We got the call. I got forwarded the text. I'm like, you are kidding me. Yeah.
Hey, let Mike North hear that. So I get this. The Philadelphia Eagles were going to report me for anti-Semitism.
Well, they sent us a this was 4 years
ago.
ago.
Because I said he was a glorified CPA.
Yeah. As a GM.
And I said, I didn't know.
I
thought Italians were CPAs too. I didn't know my aunt's a CPA.
Yeah, and Catholic Bob Lang calls me up and says, "Oh, you guys got to take this down. We're going to report it for anti-Semitism." I'm like, "All right, Bob. We didn't bend the knee."
Roseman and Associates.
Here we are 4 years later.
Still taking arrows.
They won't let me in the facility. Welcome.
Hey, read some of these supers so we can get to Mike.
All right. Here. Whoa, we missed a call. Here's Dan. What's up, Dan? That's why the AFC has all the best quarterbacks, because they sucked and got the top draft picks. Yeah, the AFC was not good for a while, and they got Lamar. Lamar was taking 31.
Well, here, I think the NFC has the best rosters. I think the AFC has the best quarterbacks.
Yeah, but some of that gap is changing a little bit now.
It has.
There's some good quarterback. I mean, Jordan Love's a good quarterback. Matthew Stafford, I think, is still one of the best in the game. I think Caleb could be one of the better quarterbacks. He's a long way to go still, but talent-wise, he's right up there. Jaden Daniels is up there if they ever do a thing around him. I think there's some guys in the NFC.
Yeah.
But obviously the Burrow, Lamar, Mahomes, and Allen, they're all
the
AFC.
Two best general managers are in the NFC as well. Schneider and Howie and Schneider, whatever you want to go with that.
Flexen says, if we tank, I want Jeremiah Smith.
Bro,
do we?
The Eagles don't tank.
Another star wideout.
The Eagles don't tank, dude. They're not a tanking organization. That's not who they are.
Here is Riot. Sills, I hear you about the work thing. I'm a nurse, and the hospital is open 24/7, 365. You work holidays, birthdays, and weekends. Put your head down and grind, right? I love it.
Man, you got more of a job that matters than me here, bro. That's an awesome job. Congratulations, man. Thanks for making a difference.
Look at this. Stander. Is that my new nickname after standing?
Stander.
Stander is right. Offense needs to focus on the basics. Yeah. Can run on first down successfully. Don't lead the league in 3 and outs. Be efficient with the football, and they'll be a great team again. The defense is going to be great. Here's DQ again. Howie would trade Hurts. After Chip Kelly sent him to the equipment room, Howie the Hatchet Man emerged knowing only winning matters. He's not doing that. DQ, the only guy Howie's got to answer to is Jeffrey, and Jeffrey loves Jalen Hurts. DQ says, what could we expect to get back if Howie traded Hurts after the season, assuming an average season from Hurts?
Bag of donuts and no.
That's not true.
I know. He get about a 1 and a 3 for him.
Yeah, no, that's not true.
Yeah, no.
I think a 1 and a 3 might be fair. Kyle says, this might sound crazy. What happens if the Steelers managed to win the division and win a playoff game? Was moving on the right call? I can see it.
Okay.
I mean, I think Aaron should have a good year, maybe. I mean,
Yep. I do. I agree.
Big night tonight with lemon pepper. That's what they're calling him now. I think he's got to earn that one.
Before we get Mike on here, I want to show you something here. Okay, so look, there was a Bears team. I think it was in 1978 and 1977. And look, I don't like doing Italian on Italian crimes, but Bob Evellini was nobody. They had a guy by the name of Noah Jackson, who I was friends with for a while. They had Dan Neal, who I think became a sports celebrity in Chicago. And I don't think they threw the ball but more than 7-8 times a game. In 1977, I think I watched Peyton go for 270 yards in one game, and they never threw the football. They never threw it because they had this guy because he was so dynamic. I just loved Walter Payton. I loved playing against. Hey, I played against him in his final game in Tampa.
Wow, that's sick.
And we honored him. And, dude, being on the same field with Walter Payton was unbelievable. They were trying to replace him with a guy by the name of Neil Anderson.
Yeah,
and Neil, I had played against. I know Neil was pretty good. He's a pretty good ball player. I played against him at Florida.
Yeah, but again, that's why everybody says you never want to replace the guy. You want to replace
you want to replace the guy
who
replaced the guy. Yeah, that's the guy.
Exactly.
Big Z, are you going to do pre and post? I'm assuming tonight, right?
Yeah,
Make sure you guys check it out.
I'll do some content tonight. All right, brother. I appreciate you.
Love you, man. I'll see you later, man.
Love
Thank
man.
you,
Later.
Big Z. That is my friend, Zander Krause. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of heat from people in Chicago because Mike North is now using the term Chicagoland. And I'm like, wait a minute, Chicagoland? What the hell is Chicagoland? And I'm like, wait, whoa, there's no such thing as Chicago. Do you know that's like Hollywood land? That's what that thing was. But you know the Hollywood sign? It used to be Hollywood land because they were selling like houses and like apartments and crap out there in the Hollywood Hills. And they were calling it Hollywood land. And I'm like, wow, to try to get a new stadium. You know what they're doing? They're telling you to lie every day. Hey, it's not that big a deal to move to Hammond. Hey, it's not that big a deal. Hey, you keep telling the lie before you know it. The lie's like, really? Okay. See, they can't stand Mike North, though, in Chicago because Mike's the one going around with all this video going, this ain't Chicago. This ain't Chicago. Mayor Daley's turning in her grave right now. Without further ado, looking forward to it. By the way, don't forget, Philly Godfather will join us at 5:30 as well. He is my friend, the legendary Chicago man himself. He is Mike North. He joins us now here on the program. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, and Chicagoland was incorporated in 1926 when a guy named McCormick owned the Chicago Tribune, and he said, we want to sell more newspapers than just in Chicago, and we want to extend Chicago into 5 other states 200 miles from the border. And we will call it Chicagoland and sell more newspapers. Eventually, it didn't work out, but that stuck for marketing purposes. That's all it ever was used for. I hate that term, Chicagoland. It's the most ridiculous term you could ever see. As far as the stadium, I'm going to be proven right on this. I was the first at the very beginning on the Big Sill show, ladies and gentlemen. No, don't please. I know. If we don't toot our own horns, nobody's going to toot it for us, though.
I hear that.
And I will tell you this right now. I said this, and now Goodell met with Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, because allegedly it got to the NFL that the Bears, presumably, their hierarchy didn't go down to Springfield to try to lobby hard enough. They did not bend any elbows. And it's almost like one of the people in the front office, I don't know who yet, is pushing because he spent time with the mayor of Chicago and the South Side politicians, and that would be Kevin Warren. And he fell in love with that situation, and all of a sudden, they're pushing to Hammond. And then there was a video sold of a view of Soldier Field towards Hammond that got to the NFL. Goodell had already been to Hammond and sort of gave the okay, but now he's saying no. It's looking like they're going back down to, because it takes 2/3 of the owners to say yes.
Yeah, on relocation. Right
now,
yes.
On relocation, it don't look good for the Bears. They don't want to go to Hammond, Indiana. And you would never, they wouldn't move their homes to Hammond, Indiana. They wouldn't open a restaurant in Hammond, Indiana. That's my point here. You're the owners of the Chicago Bears. With that comes more expense when you're in the second or third market. If you don't like that expense, or you don't want to pay $1 out of every 10, then sell the damn team. And don't tell me the Bears cannot be sold for more than $6 billion. When the Los Angeles Lakers, for God's sake, went for $12 billion. Are you kidding me? But they won't go for as much in that godforsaken place. And the NFL knows that. And the NFL knows it's not like the Meadowlands going just over the border. There is another long drive. And people are not going to want to go to a bear land, okay, that they want to build. People are not going to go through Chicago to go to Hammond on any other day but to go to see the Bears.
No way.
So that's the point that's been hammered. And when you hear Kevin Warren tell McCaskey, hey, don't forget about it when the new stadium opens in Hammond. First of all, George, where have you been? You grew up in Illinois. Where have you been? The Bears are the Chicago Bears. That's it. You can't, because you want to make a little bit more money, we're going to move. The most storied franchise in the history of the game. Are you kidding me?
Mike, do you think George McCaskey has betrayed Chicago?
Oh, if he moves, he will. See, because 80%...
Yeah, but Mike, even with the conversation, don't you think he has? He's been disloyal to the area.
Well, no, because right now it hasn't happened. That's the problem. The problem is, you've been sitting on Arlington Heights for 4 years. Warren was supposed to get that thing going. That's why he was hired. And you don't know Bear fans. He doesn't know Bear fans. He didn't even know where Hammond was, probably. Although he was involved with Notre Dame and the Big Ten.
Big Ten. Okay. He was a Big Ten commissioner.
And he almost ruined that during COVID. So.
Correct.
There's a problem. Because he was not expected. And then I hear he wasn't even the main front man in the Minnesota Dome building. There were people above him. So the Bears go and hire this guy, and 4 years later, they're going on TV again last week, saying their focus is Indiana. Then you hear the commissioner go today, no, it isn't. Illinois is still big. And the Indiana folks don't want their taxes raised and having 2 football teams in one state. Neither does the NFL. So this has been a bluff that's happened from the very beginning, in my opinion. That's why on the Sill show, this was years ago, already a year. I've been saying this wasn't going to happen, and I still think they're going to build somewhere else, but not in our lifetime, maybe.
How about this, Mike?
Soldier Field, people would rather play the Bears at Soldier Field than move to Hammond. I'm telling you.
Mike, so you think that the Chicago Bears have been disingenuous with really looking for a place in Chicago? Or do you think that
I find it amazing. They said in Hammond there's 2 locations because the first one didn't suit them after a while. Yet there's only one in Chicago. I send pictures each week. I found 5 of them. There's nothing but farmland all over the place. I mean, so, and with Hammond, you're going to have to test for toxins. They've had cancer problems out there. There's smokestacks, for God's sake. It's a steel mill area. It smells. It's just not conducive to build. You're from the biggest market, or second or third biggest market.
It's like Newark.
Absolutely. They have never built there. They have a mayor in Hammond. What have they built there? Nothing. And the Bears yet. See, I think the NFL will save the McCaskies from themselves in this. Because they're just dumb enough to do something like this.
Mike, they wouldn't do this. You tell me. They would never do this to Chicago and to the NFL fans. They would never go, all right, we're sold 1,000% on this Hammond deal. And then for the next 2, if they did do this, though, go down the lane with me here. Would they tell Chicago Bear fans, hey, we want you to come to Soldier Field. They want you to come to Soldier Field for the next 3 years, but we're moving to Hammond.
Well,
in 3 years.
That's what happens everywhere. I mean, the Redskin fans went through that. Everybody's going through it. I mean, I'm hearing where this Governor Shapiro.
Well, then why not just go play in Indianapolis if you're the Bears and go play in Indianapolis where the Colts play until you build your stadium?
There'll be another team coming to Chicago if the Chicago Bears ever move out of that area. I don't give a damn.
An expansion team or a current team?
I think it would be a current team. I really do, like Arizona. I mean, that's death. Arizona Cardinals. What do you think of? You think of loser football? Even with the Super Bowl, even with the Warner years and all the other stuff, they were an original Chicago team anyway. So the McCaskies would be giving up some collateral. They would be giving up a lot of their aura, their tradition. And the Chicago Bears are built on tradition and aura. And that's what they have. If you move to Hammond, it's gone. That's all I'm trying to tell them. And Kevin Warren, just because he wears an orange tie, okay, doesn't make you a Bear fan. And boy, you sound like you aren't. That's just my opinion.
Mike, how do you think the Bears offseason has gone so far? An exhibition season.
That's another thing because, it's really ruined a lot of people just to hear this every week, and for them to come on TV during a preseason game and say, we're still focused on Indiana. You're telling the Bear fans that as they're trying to think about this season. And I think that...
How much of a distraction has it been, Mike?
It's been a big distraction because they come on the TV. They came on the TV during the game with Jim Miller and Stacey Dales and I mean, they come on, and Kevin Warren came on last week. They got no plan. They're just, our focus is there, our focus is there. And then all of a sudden, the commissioner comes in and goes, no, it isn't. Chicago's very much in the mix. Illinois is very much in the mix. I would have started digging last year. If I inherited a $6 million team that I could get $12 billion for, I would have started digging last year because if you want to build all that nice stuff around that little bear town, you go where there's 5 million people, not 500,000. There's where you go.
You think the NFL's going to come in and make sure that the Bears stay in Chicago?
I think that right now that the Hammond deal is. Let me ask you. You thought even 3 months ago Hammond was strong, and I kept saying they're not going to do it. I think it's up to the Bears. But if the Bears move to Hammond, I'm going to tell everybody this because this is for the Philadelphia Eagle fans. I predicted this on the show. Governor Shapiro, he's running. He says, no way will the Philadelphia Eagles ever leave Philadelphia if I'm governor. Okay, first of all, it would be bad for you to say they will. But if the Bears if they move the Chicago Bears, anybody then is vulnerable, and Camden is waiting. That's all I'm saying, folks. So, just
what I think he's so full of shit on is that if you
Shapiro?
go back, Shapiro,
Yeah.
governor of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll tell you what he said a year ago. No state funds will be used to create a stadium in any way. And for him to say the Eagles would never live Philadelphia, well, dude, if you don't think they're going to want bonds and you don't think you're going to go to the taxpayers to get that money and that stadium built in South Philly, you're out of your mind. If you think Jeffrey Lurie's going to build that stadium with his money, you're out of your tree. He's not doing that. So you know what he's going to do? He's going to leverage New Jersey.
Oh, big time.
And he's going, because you know why? A year ago, the governor was saying one thing, and now he's talking out of the other side of his
politics right now. He's playing the game right now. I can't believe him. I don't have a problem with the guy, but I heard that the other night. I go, I'm going to save that for Dan's show. And because he's full of crap. I mean, because you can't let the Bears move for a couple reasons out of the state. It will make it okay for everybody else. So somebody, and I think the NFL knows it. NFL doesn't want to lose all of Illinois. They don't. And you know what? I think that it will end up being Arlington at the end of the day. Pritzker, the governor, is cool as a cucumber. He says, we met with the governor. And then he says, I don't think the governor met with Indiana. Now, he would have known yes or no if he met or not. So I know that the commissioner didn't meet with the governor of Indiana. So it's a positive in the right direction right now because I don't even think the players want to go to Hammond.
How many years?
Oh, by the way, the practice facility's on the other side of the city. The practice facility in Lake Forest,
Lake Forest. Yep, Lake Forest.
Oh, my God, you're talking like 60, 70 miles to the practice facility.
It's been there a long time. It's been there since Ditka.
Oh, yeah. So that's
Lake
just the
Forest.
way it is.
I practiced there once. Absolutely, man.
I ran across the field once.
That thing is a long way. Now you're right. I never thought of that.
God.
From there all the way down to Hammond, that's got to be 2 hours, no?
Oh, listen. Look, if you're trying to make it, well, first of all, the players will live still where they're practicing.
Yes.
They'll bus them. They bus them to Hammond.
Yes.
It's a nightmare. Let's just pretend that the McCaskies will do the right thing and that they'll do the smart thing. We got two baseball teams, by the way, who Major League Baseball.com said today are the two biggest surprises. First of all, PCA, who's going to win the MVP, hopefully. And then you got the Chicago White Sox, who continue to baffle everybody because they are going to maybe represent the American League Central.
I'll tell you what, that Chicago White Sox story, they were picked to lose.
Oh,
90
66
balls.
was the over-under.
Yeah, right.
Was the over.
People were talking about that team potentially losing 100 ball games this year.
Big story here. Because very rarely you have both teams doing the good at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I still think that Jordan Alvarez, he's probably having the best season of anybody out there, but man, your kid in Chicago has been a polarizing story to say the least. I mean, he has been, would you say he is showing up as being one of the more polarizing stories since Sammy Sosa?
Who?
What you have going on with the Cubs?
PCA?
Yeah.
He's unbelievable. He's a future Hall of Famer. I've said it from the beginning.
Wow.
Because the Cubs have never had a good outfielder. Sammy Sosa's a serial cheater. He's an arch criminal. Okay? So you just leave him out of it, okay? He should be behind bars. All right? That guy had super balls in his bat. Hey, Court
backs.
And then you know what they do? They use the junk. Remember Frankie Pantangelo? The junk. Okay? So Billy Williams may be the best consistent outfielder Cubs ever had. He had a 290 lifetime average. This kid here, he's destined to be a 40-40 guy. Now I'm hearing if Ohtani pitches. Okay, we know he's good. He can do both things. Does he place? All I know is he can take a dump while PCA's out there running down fly balls. He's a DH right now.
He's on pace for 40 home runs, 100 RBIs.
And 40 stolen bases.
And he's 24 years old.
And Ohtani's 32. And the kid actually, Ohtani's got it. Look, I'm not taking nothing away from him, but I'm fatigued by him. I'm fatigued by Ohtani. Okay, well, he pitches. We know that. But can he play center? He was originally a center fielder. He can't play center no more. So,
what's a bigger story in Chicago, Sox or Cubs?
I think PCA is the bigger story, but the Sox are right behind them. I think the Cubs, we expected them to make, but Consol's one of those guys. It's the first time in the history of my career, or my career longevity angle here, that I had Consol fired twice, and I had a manager of the year twice now. This team couldn't win a game for a month. They were hitting like 100. You remember the shows? Oh my God! Oh, woe is me! Now, they go off. They're going off, and Bregman's hitting the ball now.
Finally here. All right, Mike, I want to take you down where I think you do something exceptionally well. You talk about dead people. Mm-hmm. And first and foremost, before I get to Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
The wife that played in Brian Piccolo, okay, in Brian's song, she passed away. I saw that, and the first person I thought of was you. That was one of my favorite movies of all time. I cried all the time when Piccolo died. I wanted to know a story. Dude, I didn't even know he went to Wake Forest back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Led the nation in rushing or touchdowns.
I go to the original Lou Malnati's where they got his picture and everything.
Hey, get this. I hear that they do a celebration every year with Piccolo's. With Piccolo's number 41. They do something in Chicago every year.
Yeah. But let me tell you, Jim. Danny, let me tell you something real quick. In 1964, I'm walking by the TV, and all of a sudden I feel a funny sensation around my crotchal region. And I say to myself, what's the problem? But I had been looking at the TV, and who it was Shelley Fabrez. Now, the problem was Shelley Fabrez was playing a much younger girl, like 15 or 16, but she was really 20, unbeknownst to me. Okay? All right. So then I see her in Brian's song. She dyes her hair. Oh, and she was in 3 Elvis movies.
Yeah.
Which I saw Girl Happy. Folks, just watch Shelley Fabrez and Elvis and Girl Happy. As good as Anne Margaret and Viva Las Vegas. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
Girl Happy, okay?
Yeah.
But then, in 1993 or 94, my producer gives me a list of people that are available. People that are in town. And who's there? Yeah, my TV crush. She's
oh, my
town.
God.
So guess who I get an interview with Shelley Fabares, and I tell her I was by phone, and I tell her, Shelley, I got to tell you, you were my first crush, to be honest with you. And she goes, I hear that all the time, and there was really a couple, Angela Cartwright on Lost in Space, Tuesday Weld, Yvette Mimieux, Connie Francis, back in the late 50s, early 60s. So I told her she was crushed. Then the other day she dies, and we do this show, Somebody Big Just Died. We got her on North to North, along with probably the greatest American who ever lived, maybe. I'm starting to think that.
I've never seen anybody celebrated more on both sides in today's world where social media will assassinate on both sides to make an agenda on whoever and say whatever. I've never seen anybody more loved in my life than Dolly Parton. I've never seen this.
There's only one I can put it in the same realm, and that was when Elvis died. And it's still big. He's still big. That week that he died, every newspaper, every magazine, and there was no Twitter or social media.
Yeah.
But all over the world, he was mourned. And then they had the funeral, and Memphis was shut down. If there was Twitter then, it would have been the same thing. But the problem with Elvis, and the problem with anybody else, including me, is I was watching what kind of human being Dolly Parton was over the past, 3 days, 4 days. Even that, but I knew that just before.
Yeah.
Now we reminded. And I am so disappointed as how far below her I am, and every other human being that I've ever known, because Elvis had a drug problem. Elvis let himself go. Everybody that Michael Jackson didn't, same thing, talented, but had a big problem. Tiger Woods. All these people have problems. In a rotten business like the entertainment business, for Dolly Parton to make it through unscathed. And then you hear stories like Whitney Houston saying, I will always love you. Well, Dolly Parton made millions off the royalties. She invests in the black neighborhood of Office Complex because it was with the money she made from Whitney Houston singing that song. And because she said, they're my people too. So they just named the airport. They've already voted to name the airport after her. So that's going to be the Dolly Parton airport.
I want to tell you a story I heard.
I love when you tell stories.
She told the story actually to Howard Stern what happened. So check this out. It goes down the lane of Elvis. So years and years ago, when she wrote "I Will Always Love You," she wrote it, and all of a sudden she gets a call from Colonel Parker.
Yeah,
Elvis wants to record the song. She's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it! Elvis wants to record the song."
Sort of like when I got put on your show.
Hey, she was all excited about it. She couldn't believe it. Colonel Parker, before they went in to record, goes like this. Hey, all the publishing rights goes to us and goes to Elvis.
I think he wanted 50%.
And she went, no way.
Yeah, because she already had a hit with that.
She goes, no way. And she turned around and made all that money with Whitney and all the awards and everything.
She wasn't mad at Elvis about it. It was
no. She was just mad at Colonel Parker over it. But what I'm saying is, it showed you back then, even what kind of business person she was, where she was not going to be pushed around. Don't let the looks fool you, because she was one of the best businesswomen. I would make this comment to you that she's probably the most influential country music singer of all time.
I think she's a role model. One of the most influential role models. To give my wife was raised by a single mom and her sisters and brother, and she spent a lot of time in the library. And this Imagination Library has already made 250. I think they sold
giving books out to kids, underprivileged kids.
I know people that get them. They don't miss. They get them every month. I know people that get them. I go, you're kidding. My producer Joe Mandel gets them for his babies, and it's for kids 1 to 5. But the amount of and then she wanted to open the theme park up in the mountains, the Catskills, and they warned her, don't do this, and they did, and it's huge. Dollywood, people just flock to it. So classic woman. 9 to 5 was a great movie, and I saw Dolly Parton here in Chicago, her first show on WFLD TV. Chicago had 4 channels at the time, and then they had WFLD. And they're getting syndicated programming, and Porter Wagner show was on, and her first show was in 1967. She was a little chunky, but young, real young, and she was on every week. And then she made, but I never said, oh, look at this. She's going to make it all the way to the top of the heap. Because now I think it's Elvis. Elvis didn't need to be a songwriter. Okay? Elvis is in another realm, I think. But then you got Michael Jackson, you got Dolly Parton. And Dolly Parton, Loretta Lynn used to be the queen of country,
Yep.
but I think now, I think her crown has been given to the wonderful. And you know what, Dan, you know this. We work for a lot of money. We work for little money. We work if we want to promote ourselves. 80 years old and tireless, that woman. Because, you know, you got to do shows and do something.
Yep.
Sometimes you go, oh, man, come on, you know. She never let her guard down. She always seemed cool. And I love the way that her husband said, I don't want to be involved with this crap. So he didn't become involved with it, and she had the best. You need good people around you. She must have had the best, because everything she touched turned to gold.
Absolutely. She was a tremendous
Yeah.
business person. Hey, college football this weekend.
Yeah, baby.
Mike, do you look more forward to the NFL season?
Oh, yeah.
I would think Chicago's kind of like Philly in a way. It's not really
Nah.
it's outside of Notre Dame. It's not really a college sports town.
Yeah.
It's a pro town, right?
Yeah.
It's not really college. So, but do you still look forward to college football?
Oh, yeah. I love college football, but I don't love it as much as the NFL, man. I go back to Pete Retzlaff. Don't even play me. I go back to Paul Krause. Let's go. I go back to Pioneers. I love the NFL. I think the NFL, I hope that, and then I hear the other day from some British study, 25% of the football players end up someday getting CTE. Maybe when they're 80, maybe when they're 60, maybe when they're 90. Let me tell everybody, as far as a fan's perspective on this, I don't give a shit, okay? I don't care. Next man up, all right? Next guy. I don't care. Because every guy that I know that's got a key job in major broadcasting has been concussed numerous times. Troy Aikman, 3 times. Steve Young, numerous times. Mike Ditka got concussed and didn't even know it at least 30 times. He wore a pot on his head with a C on the side. So I don't want to hear about it, okay? Because guess what? My mother-in-law had Alzheimer's. She never played it down. She got it, and she had it for 8 years. Okay? So I understand the rate's higher. But if you want to play for 10 million, 5 million, 1 million, 20 million, you're going to play in the NFL and take your chances. You want to play for 50 million, okay? You're not, what are you going to go work at UPS, drive the truck, get me a package? Or are you going to play quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys and be afraid you might not remember your name by the time you're 80? Give me a break. I'm tired of the whole crap. New guy. Oh, he's got a concussion. He can't remember his name. Good, get him off the field. Get somebody else on. That's what we're waiting for, big time. Forget about it.
Mike, what about college kids going back to the what about a pro guy going back to the college ranks? What do you make of that? So there's a kid that played and he was in a Cleveland Brown uniform in a preseason game a couple weeks ago. Now he's getting ready to play some football with LSU. And by the way, a Dallas judge yesterday told the Big Ten and the Southeastern Conference, you know, that little tiny rule you said where you can't have those guys come play? You need to come see me. Those kids are eligible to play. You're not going to supersede a court. So those kids who filed that injunction are going to play this year. What do you make of that?
I think it's terrible. I think that state of college football is terrible. I see the budget's $40 million. I mean, everybody's cheating publicly now. I think it's ridiculous. Education's put on the back burner. Half these kids probably couldn't even get on the teams that they're supposed to play on if they had to pass academic requirements. I mean, I can't be hearing that in every major city you have 3rd and 4th grade reading levels, and yet you got all these guys playing at major universities that can't probably get out of their own way. So I find it sad. I find it sad what's happened to football. I hate that judges are intervening on a lot of things that they shouldn't intervene on, but I know that, lawyers are getting rich off everybody. I think it's terrible, and I hate LSU. I hate them now. I used to like them when Ed Ogeron was
Now, is that a Lane Kiffin thing?
You know what? No, it's a Brian Kelly thing, maybe.
Okay, so his lasting residue.
First of all, let me tell you something. Pete Maravich was my guy. He went to LSU. I love LSU. Shaq went to LSU. Okay, I think Billy Cannon, the great Billy Cannon, folks. That's right. That's what I know. 1959.
Heisman winner.
Went to LSU. I love LSU. I love Everybody's All-American, the movie with John Goodman and Dennis Quaid. One of the greatest football movies. Nobody talks about.
It is.
With the tiger and the whole thing. And glue and racing. I love the tradition of LSU. I love Jessica Lange in that movie. Okay? And then what do? They hire Brian Kelly with a fake draw. Okay? How doing? Everybody, come on now. Like he's a sheriff in Mississippi.
$93 million too, by the way.
Yeah. And then, what do? They hire this carpetbagger, Lane Kiffin, too. Okay? And now, who's going to LSU? Of course. Of course this guy is. So, I'm not a fan of LSU. Now, that could come back. I like that little John. I'll tell you what. Nobody got the team.
How you doing there, Big Sal? What's going on there?
I went to Burrow.
Ed's a dear friend of mine.
Why is he gone?
Okay,
Why?
Actually, Lane hired him back to be a recruiter.
I see that, but you know what? Lane's a carpetbagger, and you know what? I wish him. I hope you lose. I know you're supposed to win, but I want you to come up short all the time. I do. I just do. Because
I can't wait for that Ole Miss LSU game in September. And it's in Oxnard.
Man, yeah. And I hear, he was making fun of Oxford, and there's less crime per capita than Baton Rouge. So shut up, okay?
Hey, Mike, we got something coming up on November 7th.
Eagles, Bears?
No.
I'm getting my GED finally?
No, Notre Dame, Miami.
Oh, baby.
From South Bend.
I'm going to tell you something. I'll tell you what. If Notre Dame wins, you have to wear a shamrock on your forehead on our show.
And if I win,
I'll show you my report card with all lefts, and I'll fit.
You've got to put a U on your forehead.
Yeah. Why do we? I didn't know how to spell hijinks. I spelled it Hijinx, but in a lot of circles, it's spelled Hijinks. Which way should I have gone? I took the X. It bothered me, sort of like the echo bothered me a couple weeks ago, until I got the headphones where I looked like I want to shoot down an enemy plane. But we don't do that anymore. We just do sanctions. But which is it, X or K?
Mike, I went to Miami. I don't really give a shit.
They used to make fun of Buckus because
hey, Mike, you hijinks. I don't know.
Hey, I went to junior college and I had trouble getting out.
I'm just like this, Mike. Hijinks. Okay, sure, whatever.
I love hijinks.
You should see me try to read shit. It's impossible. Anyway,
yeah.
Big Mike, I can't wait till next week as we're getting closer. By the way, big college games this weekend. We're going to start talking more college games and pro games. Good. We're going to be the last exhibition weekend. Then we get ready for the upcoming NFL. Let's see what happens with the Chicago Bears. I believe you. I think they're going to be in Arlington. I don't think they're leaving. My friend, I love you. I'll see you next week.
Say hi to Philly for me.
You bet I will. That is
Mike
buddy. North, man. Make sure you guys check out our great friend. I'll say this to you about Lane Kiffin. I love villains in sports. And he is turning out to be the greatest villain I have seen since Jimmy Johnson. There is not a person that likes Lane Kiffin. And when is that game? When is that Oxford game? That Ole Miss LSU football game. What date is that? September 19th. LSU Ole Miss. Dude, that game is going to create monster ratings. That thing's going to be great. I mean, massive ratings. You know the numbers that people were talking about with the World Cup? You'll get 25 to 30 million people watching that game that day. You will. You'll get that many people watching that game. That's going to be an absolutely insane game. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you talk about people, because people are rooting against Lane Kiffin. Tremendous. Miami and the Irish blow. Yeah, that's another thing. So Joel Klatt came out and said that Miami will lose to Notre Dame in the playoff because Notre Dame is a superior program. Well, let me hook you up. Since 1981, Miami's 8-6. We gave them their worst beating in the history of their program. I was on that team. The second game we played them, we beat them 24-0. And last year, we beat the hell out of them. And Jeremiah Love had 40 yards rushing. Superior program. Where's that? In the 70s? The 60s? All right, maybe. But you ain't been a better football program since the 1980s to today than the University of Miami. You are not a superior program. I mean, where? Based on what? You've won 2 national titles since 1973. And the other one was in 88. You make Notre Dame sound like, well, here's a national power. They're great. And I'm like, Notre Dame ain't done shit in 53 years. I mean, come on now. Lanes is, as a person I heard, I don't, why that matters can be coach. What is that? Oh, Lane Kiffin. Lane is a piece of shit as a person I heard. I don't why that matters can be a coach. He's not, hey, Twiz. Lane Kiffin is not loyal to anybody but himself. And he doesn't give a shit about the kids. And if you play at LSU, you shouldn't give a shit about Lane. Don't go to LSU because of Lane. Go to LSU because Lane can get you paid. You play at LSU. I love LSU. I almost went to LSU. I got recruited to go to LSU. And it's a great place. Will he win a national title there? I don't know. Okay? I don't know. So, college football will always be superior because of the want to get to the pros. Still, it's just more physical of a football game. It is. But I'll tell you what, if I'm a college football player and I'm not the greatest prospect, and you're telling me that I can make, let's say, $700,000 to $1 million a year as a college football player, and I make $4 million playing at a college, I have a career. Do you know how many guys get drafted, go into the NFL, get cut after 2 years, and they're out of the league? And they have no money to fall back on. You give me a college football career where I can make $4 million, my attitude towards the NFL changes. Well, I hope I can play, and I really hope that I can make a living more than I did when I was in college. But if I don't, I made $1 million a year. I played at a big-time college program. I saved some of my money. And if I don't make it in the NFL, all right. I still had a great college career. College football now pays. They're paying for your fame. When you're good now in college, kids are getting paid for their fame. Like when I played, you weren't paid for your fame. Now you are. You know all those jerseys they sell in the student unions like Tim Tebow's or Deion Sanders? We didn't get a dime of that shit. Now, if you're going to do that stuff, kids are getting paid for that. Like when you go on EA Sports, you get paid for that. When ESPN does commercials for a game that they're going to promote, those kids get paid for that. Agents call ESPN. You want to use my likeness? You just can't use a kid's likeness anymore. Like you just like if you want to promote a game, like if you're going to promote LSU Ole Miss, you think you're just going to use Trinidad Chambliss' face, the quarterback at Ole Miss, and Lane Kiffin for nothing because you broadcast the game? That don't work like that anymore. That just don't work like that. Sills, I love that college football started nil, but it does keep players in college longer, which ruins their NFL draft chances since they got overlooked for their age. SS, I'll tell you what it does do. If I'm a college kid, I would never leave college. I would never leave unless I was a bona fide number 1 pick, top 5, top 10 pick. If there was a chance I was going to be the 20th player, here, let me show you something. I'll show you this. Salaries for rookies. NFL rookies in 2026. Okay. Here's the pay scale. So look, year 1, Fernando Mendoza is going to make $10 million. That's awful good. For the number 1 pick, Mendoza is going to make $10 million, right? So Darian Mensah, the starting quarterback at the University of Miami, is going to make $6.8 million. So let's go down the scale where that would be today. If he went into the draft on pay, 6.5. Here it is. Darian Mensah is going to make more money than the 8th player taken in the NFL draft this year. And because he's not going to make more than the 7th player taken was 6.7. So Mensah is going to make more money in the college ranks than the bottom 7 in the first round. Like from 7 down, he makes more money. Any quarterback that was drafted, like Ty Simpson. Here, Ty Simpson was the 13th player taken. He's making 4.6. Starting quarterback at the University of Miami, he's making 6.5. And Ty Simpson is a backup in Los Angeles to Matthew Stafford at 4.6. Why would I stay? Why would I stay? Take a look at this one. Reuben Bain. Here's another good one. I think Bain was the 15th player taken. The 15th player taken is going to make $4.3 million. Reuben Bain last year made $5 million. He's making $100,000 more with the Bucs than he did with the Hurricanes a year ago. What's my incentive to leave and go into the NFL draft? I got more job security in college than I do in the NFL. Why would I leave? Here, what was the pick? What was the 20th player taken? So the 20th player taken in the draft was what? Was Makai Lemon. Makai Lemon, $3.7 million. Makai Lemon made $5 million last year at USC. He's making less money now playing for the Eagles than he did when he was at Southern Cal. Why would I want to be a pro? That's why kids want more eligibility. You get to stay in college 5, 6, 7 years. That's an NFL career. You got a better chance. Get this. I think what's going to happen in college football, you're going to see these kids being blown out quicker. And not there 3, 4, 5 years. It's going to be 1 year, gone. 1 year, gone. Just like the NFL. The only reason players aren't in the NFL longer is money. Same thing will happen to the college ranks. If a kid, you could bring a guy in and upgrade your defensive tackle position. Both guys at the University of Miami right now, the starting defensive tackles, are projected to be in the top 20 in this coming draft. 2 really great defensive tackles. They're respected and probably going to go somewhere around like 20 to 30, somewhere in there. Both guys are making $3 million this year. Well, that's what the pay is for the 25th player taken. $3 million. Why would I leave UM? To come play in Philly for less? Makai Lemon took a pay cut to play in Philly. That's why when these kids don't get drafted in the top 10 picks, it's a letdown. Most of these guys were making big money in college. Shedeur Sanders was making $10 million. Shedeur Sanders makes $1.6 million right now. This guy in the last 2 years has lost $19 million in salary alone. Why would you go to the pros? Why? Because it's the pros? Hey, dude, what's more important to you? Paycheck? Or you want to be an NFL player? Give me the paycheck. Give me the money. So you think SMU will ever get back to the top again? I just saw a pretty good documentary about them called The Pony Express Days. Yeah. All the shit that you're doing today, they did then. And I almost went to that program too. My final coach in the pros was Ron Myers with the Vegas Posse. And I love that SMU program. That SMU program and all those guys that were funneling money in, even the governor was. And getting back, they were in the college playoff 2 years ago. Dude, SMU's got a shitload of money. And it would not shock me if SMU is in the conversation again to be in a national champ. Dude, here's what you're going to get. Okay? All those Texas teams, you better look out, SEC. If I was a college football conference, I would want every single team that's in Texas in my conference because of all that oil money. They're crazy in Texas for football. Have you seen their high school football stadiums? It's 75,000 seats. They play their national championship game at Jerry's World, and they fill it. Carter High School is one of the biggest high schools in the country. Dude, the Texas football is crazy. Do you think there's any coincidence Texas A&M, Texas Tech, SMU, Texas have all been in the college playoff the last 2 years? In places like Alabama and Auburn and some of those places are going by the wayside, or LSU. Texas is going to have a lot of schools, man. Kyle Field is one of the greatest college football stadiums on the planet. I've told some of you guys this. They got this big hotel across the street from the stadium, Kyle Kyle Field. And during football season, they give you a 2-night stay. You come in on a Friday, you watch on a Saturday, and you got to pay $100,000. And they sell out the hotel for all home games. And every cent of that money goes to A&M football. Now, I don't know about you. You get $100,000 every weekend, and you've got 300 rooms, and you do that 10 times a year for home games or 8 times a year for home games, you add it up. I mean, you're raking in gigantic, and plus Kyle Field itself. They put 97,000 fans in that bitch. Dude, you want to play somewhere, you play at A&M. Or you play in Austin. Those places are crazy wealthy. Sills is right. SMU has a ton of money in Dallas. It's located in Highland Park, right there on Greenville Avenue, which is top 5 in the richest cities in the United States. Allen High School, where Kyler Murray went to high school. They have a 70,000-seat stadium. These crazy places like that. My wife and I used to go and work out at some of these high schools. I'd look at these high schools, she go, yeah, that's normal. It's like a 50,000-seat stadium. You're like, what? Crazy on how good that is. Exactly, Sills, my point. So what do you think is the sweet spot? Do you think that could ruin the NFL in the long run because players are waiting much longer to play in the NFL? Hey, be ready for this. Kids are going to stay in college, and they're going to come out. They're going to be 23, 24 years old now. They're not going to be 21, 22 years old. I could make $7 million in college. Why would I come out? What's the point? What's the point of leaving? All right. One of my favorite people. Man, I'll tell you what. If you go over to his social media page and you see all the videos, he's a big-time superstar now because of this book right here. Here you do it, man. I mean, I saw some great videos. He's speaking to everybody. Make sure you get it on Amazon here. Without further ado, by the way, this is going to be, if he can, we're going to go back to a schedule again because we got college football. We're going to talk to him about it this weekend. NFL in 2 weeks, but without further ado, our friend, the Philly Godfather, joins us now. How you doing, brother?
My man, Dan Sileo, best show on the planet. What's going on?
How you doing, man? I mean, hey, how's the tour coming? How's the book tour going?
Doing great. Selling a ton of books. We just signed a six or eight episode deal with my buddy Steven Siddell. He's the guy that did the podcast Wolf Among Us. That podcast got 4 million downloads and led to a TV series from my buddy Larry Lavin on Peacock. So we're hoping everything works out there. And maybe if you want to jump on the podcast and narrate a little bit, let people know, what you think about me. That'd be nice. That's about it, man. Selling a ton of books, doing a bunch of book signings. Probably go back on the college tour, do a couple colleges this year, and getting ready for college football. Big fan of Notre Dame this year. Big fan of the Cincinnati Bengals in the NFL, and that's about it.
What has been the coolest thing that you've done so far with the tour?
I mean, we spoke to a lot of college kids, and their eyes are wide open, when you're speaking to them, and it's kind of cool talking to them. And, you think back when you were younger, if you had someone tell you the truth about how things really are, how things really work, because now they're just reading stuff in a book, and that's great. But then you get in the real world and realize, that book ain't going to cut it. You need real world experience, So that's been great. Talking to some people at the prison at Pick in Northeast Philly and giving them some hope when they get out of prison. Hopefully they can change their lives. And that's been kind of cool. But you met so many people, so many good people along the way. They want to hear your story. And I try to teach them to avoid my pitfalls. I've made a lot of, good decisions, like marrying the best girl in the world. We've been married for 35 years, raised 2 beautiful kids. I made some bad ones, which led me to prison and almost wiped out, all the good things I did in life. So got to be really careful and avoid some pitfalls that can change the trajectory of your life and really ruin everything that you've built and worked for. And it's been a fun ride. And I'm on here with you every Friday, which is the best.
Let me ask you, man, when you're putting this all together and you're getting ready for a big year in football, what's What's more demanding your time, college football or the NFL?
Well, there's a lot more college football teams, so I probably spend more time on college football than the NFL. But they're both growing. I mean, you're reading as much information as possible. Information is the key to success. You try to leave your biases at the door. Try to be as unbiased as possible. You don't want to be a fan. You want to be a fan of money. And you really want to do some extensive research, a lot of data mining. You're looking for predictive indicators on a week-to-week basis. And it never ends. You can't just read for one day because information changes down, later on in the week. People are banged up. People are playing. So it's, 10 to 12 hour a day, sometimes 14 hours a day. You're watching the screen. You're seeing these line moves. You're trying to figure out, is that sharp money pushing the line? Is that public money? Who's on that game? Is it a respected outfit? Is it not? Is there sharp money against the team that you like, that you bet? So you're trying to handicap the market. You're trying to really input a lot of game theory on how these games might play out. And you try and do the best you can because the VIG, you're laying 110 to 100, and you got to be better than 52.4% anytime you're risking 110 to 100 just to break even. So that's pretty much what we do.
Why are you on those guys at South Bend? I can't wait till we play those guys November 7th because I got in Joe Klatt's ass about it, and I went, well, let me hook you guys, all you Notre Dame lovers, up on this. So since 1981, Miami's 8-6. We've given that team the biggest ass beating in the history of that program. Last year, we put a beating on them too, and we beat them, by 3. Okay.
It was in Miami. It was in Miami.
It was in Miami.
That Miami football team was loaded last year. This year, they lost 50% of their starters. They lost 4 offensive linemen to the NFL. They got a kid playing quarterback. Where was he at? Tulane and Duke.
Yep. Yeah. Darian Mensa.
Yeah, you got C.J. Carr. He's got the pedigree. He's the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman. There's a lot of reasons why I like Notre Dame this season. Miami's projected to rank 7th overall, but they lost a lot of players last year.
Yeah,
a lot of impactful players, a lot of stars on the offensive and defensive line.
Akeem Messador and Bain on the other side are gone. Yeah. Those 2 guys were factors.
And I'm a big fan of the nucleus of the teams. You know what I mean? And the quarterback is the most impactful position on the football field. And the way they played, the way they did Notre Dame dirty last year, they deserve to be in the playoffs. So they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder. They got a much easier schedule than Miami. I think Miami has a tougher road. And I think Notre Dame is a slightly better team this year. And, they gave me 7-1 odds, and now they're down to 6-1 odds on Notre Dame. They're the odds-on favorite. I had to take them. Coaching wise, Freeman, who's better than him, maybe the guy in Indiana, but I put him up there against anybody. Their defense is loaded. I'm a fan of money. I'm not, like I said last year, I was big on Miami too, but I think Notre Dame's better this season, Dan.
I think Ohio State is the most overrated football team in the country this year. Yeah. They have lost so much on that football team and talent, and I'm not a Julian Sayin guy. What do you think of Ohio State? You think they're going to be in the conversation?
Yeah, I think so. What they spend? Yeah, they're top 5.
$50 million on that roster.
So, money talks and bullshit walks. And same with Miami spent a lot of money as well. I think they spent the third.
44. You bet.
Yeah. I think you got Notre Dame up there. And Oregon's a very dangerous team. There's some sharp money that took Oregon to win it all. Some guys I respect. So their odds dropped a little bit. But Ohio State, they always got the dog. Georgia, Ohio State, those teams are. Texas is another team you got to watch out for. Another year with Manning. They spent a ton of money. They got a lot of returning production like Notre Dame does. It's going to be fun to watch. They're all going to be up there at the end.
What about LSU? You think they could be a dark horse?
Yeah, they could be a dark horse. They spent a ton of money too. I think they're number 5 or 6 there?
Yep.
As well. Yeah, all those teams down there. They're loaded with talent. It really depends on injuries. And I'm right this year. I'm kind of, wait and see approach on some of those teams before I really get heavily invested in them. But yeah, I think they're all good teams this football season.
What do you got, North Carolina, TCU? I think it's 9.5.
Yeah,
who's favored in that? TCU's favored 9.5 in that game.
Yeah, game opened up 6.5. It's moved up to 9.5. I'm not really sold on. TCU, they lost 50% of their players from last season. They got a kid playing quarterback. I think he played at Harvard, right? Is that what? Yep. Jaden Craig, and North Carolina's got. I think Billy Gibson starting for them. He was banged up last year, but he did play at Maryland the year before, and he had a pretty good season. I think he's got the more experience. Both defensive lines are supposed to be disruptive, supposed to be really good. If it gets to 10, I might look to play North Carolina. I think it's a lot of points. I don't think TCU should be laying 10 points against anybody this year. There's a team that might win 7 games. I know North Carolina isn't expected to do much, 4 or 5 wins on the season. But 10 points is a lot of points for the first game of the season when you're still trying to gel, get cohesive, and get things together. And you got 2 pretty good defensive teams here. The total is indicative of 2 good defensive teams. I think it's 46.5. So I might look to play under 47 if it gets to 47. I kind of like it's not going to be a big bet, but if it gets to 10, I might nibble a little bit on North Carolina. I mean, TCU lost a bunch of offensive linemen last year. I know North Carolina did as well, but that might be a good thing because I think they had the worst offensive line in college football last season. So, yeah, 10 points is a ton of points. I kind of like North Carolina a little bit.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'd take the Carolina side in this one too. Now, I'm not going to ask you so much about SC and San Jose State. I'm going to ask you more about SC. What are you looking at? I mean, by the way, they're favored in this game, something like 38.5 points. Over and under 61.5 there. I do believe it's at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. So, but what do you think of Southern Cal and Lincoln Riley this year? I mean, you think they can make some noise in the Big Ten?
They might. I mean, I think they blow this team out, San Jose State. I actually bet USC here. I laid 35.5 back in June. Line went up to like 39.5. I'm thinking the kid's quarterback for the Spartans. I think it's Luke Weaver, right? I mean, he hasn't even played. I think he had a couple games with Hawaii. He came from a junior college. He's in for a rude awakening against this USC team. I think USC probably smokes them, could win this game by 40, 45 points. So if you want to lay the big number, you probably get it done. Yeah, USC can go far. That kid impressed me. What's their quarterback's name?
Malavov, something like that?
Or something. He had 700 passing yards last year. He had maybe 25 touchdowns. He might throw 7 or 8 touchdowns this weekend.
Yeah.
San Jose's defense was giving up like 33 points a game last year. They might, and they've been overhauled. I think they got the least amount of players coming back from last. This game is going to be ugly. I mean, I can see USC just blowing this team out. But yeah, USC's got a solid squad. Yeah, they can go far.
You know, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at a couple games that is on Thursday of next week because we get you usually on Friday. I'm just going to ask you about teams, not so much the games, but when you're taking a look at some of these, when you look at some of these football teams like Indiana, obviously the last 2 years had a lot of the James Madison guys. Those guys have now gone and they've graduated. Do you still think that you could be in a conversation for a national title, Indiana?
They didn't spend enough money. They lost so many players, key players, and the most
Mendoza
guy in the football field. He's gone. So to expect them to be a top 5 team or even a top 10 team, I think is asking a lot. But Cignetti's, I mean, who's done a better coaching job than him over the last couple seasons?
No one.
Nobody. So if anybody can do it, you got to give them, a little bit of a shot. But I don't see it being top 10 this year.
What about Deion's crowd? He plays next Thursday against Georgia Tech. And by the way, I do not believe they win that game.
No.
I think Georgia Tech, it's at Bobby Dodd Stadium. I think Georgia Tech is more of a tougher challenge than what many people think. And that's a pretty tough open that's on ESPN next week, by the way. Yeah. And Georgia Tech is favored in that ball game. What do you expect from Colorado and Deion's group this year?
I really haven't read much into this team. A lot of experts aren't expecting much from Colorado. I haven't really done much research on his team yet, but I'll dig into it. If I decide to play the game, I'll give it out on Twitter for free. But yeah, I haven't really betted or haven't looked much into his football team this season.
What about Alabama this coming year?
Alabama, they're dangerous. They're dangerous each and every year. I think Georgia might be slightly better than them. Ohio State is better than them. Notre Dame's better than them. I think Oregon's better than them. But we'll see how it plays out in the regular season. We'll see how good that team really is.
Now, I'm going to take you over to the NFL. Has anything changed for the top 5 teams that are the favorites, the betting favorites to win the Super Bowl? And who are those 5 teams?
No, everyone knows the Rams are number 1. You get back 5.5 on your money, plus 550. The Bills, 10-1, second best odds to win it all. Then you got the Ravens, which I'm not big on. They're also 10-1. The Seahawks are still up there, even though I don't think they get to the Super Bowl. They're at 11-1. And then you got the Patriots, the Chiefs, and the Eagles all at 16-1. And I actually think the Chiefs are probably the better team of those three, the best of those three teams. And then the Eagles and the Patriots. And then you got the Chargers and the Texans that are going to be tough to beat. If their offensive line got any better than it was last season, I mean, their defense, scariest in the NFL. They're at 18-1. That's a team my son likes. He bet them to win the Super Bowl. And the Packers, that's another team that we're big on this year. They're at 18-1. So the 49ers are also there at 19-1. Then you got the Lions at 19-1. But to me, the best teams in the NFL this year are probably the Rams, the Bengals, the Packers, the Texans, and maybe the Chiefs. And don't forget about the Broncos with that defense. They were top 5, I think, in offense and defense last season. And if their quarterback doesn't get hurt in the playoffs, they probably ended up in that Super Bowl instead of the Patriots. So they're the teams that I'm looking at.
You know, I brought this up with Zander today, and he's like, boy, you really love the Bengals. And I think it's because of you. You know, they added 2 offensive linemen. They added Dexter Lawrence on the other side. This might be the best group of talent that Joe Burrow has had in Cincinnati. That's even better than the team that ended up making it to the Super Bowl and played the Rams. I mean, the key for them is really him standing upright. This team could be a team that could make it to the AFC Championship game. Do you agree with that? And what are the odds of them doing that?
Yeah, I took them at 20-1 and 22-1 to win the Super Bowl. I took them at 10-1 to win the AFC Conference. I took them at 2-1 to win their division. They're going to be favored in 15 to 17 games this season. Their defense is projected to be top 5, top 10 defensive line. Their offensive line, if it can just be mediocre and keep them upright. This is a guy that took a team to the Super Bowl, and he was sacked 70 times that year and had the worst offensive line in football. You saw him last year, worst defense, worst offensive line in football, and he could still beat anyone on any given day. All those games were like 50-50 games. They scored enough points. They just couldn't stop teams from scoring at the end, and this year's a lot different. Who's better than Joe Burrow? I mean, you got Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, they're the 3 studs. Matt Stafford, when he's perfectly healthy, he's another guy. But yeah, Joe Burrow's my favorite quarterback statistically. If you gave him any type of offensive line, he probably would have won 3 or 4 Super Bowls already. And he's really excited. He had a press conference where he said this is the most excited he's been since that LSU football team that we bet at 40-1 to win the Super Bowl that year. I think it was 2019. I mean, to win the college football national championship at 40-1, and they did it. So he's really excited. The team's excited. Cincinnati's really excited. I got a lot of friends close to the football team, and they're saying this is the best team they've seen in a long time since that Kenny Anderson team back in 1982. They said, when they went to the Super Bowl, and he had the highest passer rating in the league that year. Kenny Anderson,
MVP.
Yeah. So the fans are excited. A lot of people close to the football team in Cincinnati are excited. I'm excited, and I invested my money in him. I don't consider what I do gambling. I invest in sports, like I do in the stock market, in the real estate market, in the muscle car market. And I'm looking to make money. I'm not looking to gamble. And I really like this football team.
I'll tell you this about Joe Burrow. If he had the old lines that Hurts had,
forget about it.
He'd win 3 Super Bowls in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, like you said, can you imagine? You took a team to a Super Bowl and you were sacked 70 times.
It's crazy.
And you went to the Super Bowl. Last year, he was sacked 50 times. And the stuff he did the year before that, when he had the best offense in football, he was sacked 60 times. Yeah. Can you imagine if that guy had any kind of O-line whatsoever? Let me ask you here. Because of you, I'm going with the Bills to win the East. Am I right? Or do you think New England can really make it still a go there to win the AFC East?
New England's still pretty good. 9-10 win team. I think they regressed from the 14-win season they had last year. Super Bowl hangover is real. I mean, you see it each and every season. Something happens. It's fluky. You can't put your finger on it, but it always happens each and every year. A.J. Brown's going to help that offense, very explosive, but I don't think their offensive line got any better. And you saw Drake May run for his life in the playoffs last year. I think they're going to have a target on their back, first place schedule. And at minus 130, I think the Bills is the right side to win that division.
In the South, we talked about the North. I think we're both going Cincy there because I am. In the South, I think Indy's going to overtake Jacksonville. Am I right when I say that? Or are you still on Jacksonville's side?
I mean, they had a good football. They got a really good defense.
They have a good football team. Yes, they do.
Right, and they got a good coach. And
they're giving Travis Hunter back too. I mean, they didn't really have him a year ago.
They were banged up a little bit last year too. It's going to be close. That division's always close. Injuries really dictate who wins that division. But the Texans, to me, are they're the strongest.
Texans, yep.
Yeah, they're the strongest team in the division.
In the West, boy, this is going to be a dogfight. I mean, maybe the two best divisions are both in the NFC and AFC, and they're in the West. I'm going Denver here. Is it Denver? Man, I love the Chargers. I love the Chiefs. I mean, there's some really good football teams. This thing's going to come down to injuries, one game or another. But I'm going Denver because I think Denver's got the deeper roster and the deeper team. Am I right to go down that lane?
Yeah, on paper, I think they got the best nucleus of any team in the West. But then the most impactful player is the quarterback. They don't have the best quarterback in the West. I think Justin Herbert's better. I think Mahomes is better. It's going to be close. It's going to be right down. I think it's going to be a war of attrition, and injuries are really going to dictate because it's really close. I mean, Chiefs are the odds-on favorite actually to win that division. And you saw how good the Broncos were last year. So that tells you something. If the odds makers are putting the Chiefs there, that Chiefs team has a lot of speed. You still got Andy Reid. You still got Spags. You still got Mahomes. And they're tough to beat. They got a chip on their shoulder. Everyone's left them for dead. This is still a football team that can beat anybody. So on paper, the Broncos are probably the best team in that division, but they don't have the best quarterback.
So I'm going to go Buffalo, Cincy, Indy, and Denver winning the divisions. My wild card teams are going to be Patriots, Texans, and the Chargers. That leaves the Chiefs out. Am I right when I say that? Or do you leave the Patriots out and there's three teams from the AFC West come out of the AFC West? Because that was my dilemma. Because someone's got to be left out here. Yeah. And, boy, you're going to leave Patrick Mahomes out 2 years in a row? That's kind of a tough one for me to swallow, too. I'm like, I don't know about that one there. It's because someone's getting left out because Mahomes, if he's upright, Chiefs got to be a player, right?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that West is so tight. It's so tight. I'm going to go.
You think three teams come out of there?
They could. The Chargers' biggest problem is injuries. Each and every year they get banged up. If their offensive line gets banged up like it was last year, they're serious.
And they still made it.
They still made it, yeah. I think the Patriots might fall off. They might not make the playoffs, even though they might win 9 or 10 games.
So you put KC in there instead of New England.
It's right there. I mean, flip a coin. I'm not. My conviction isn't strong enough to say either way. So it's flip a coin.
Okay, in the NFC, this is where I get killed every week by Eagle fans. I'm sorry. I'm going Cowboys here to win the NFC East here, and I think they've done a lot. I think they got a better offense. I think they got the better quarterback. Yeah. I think Brian Schottenheimer's a better play caller than this Sean Mannion dude. I think they upgraded, with this kid, Christian Parker, on defense. They've added the defensive tackle from the Jets. I mean, they got by far the best offense in the NFC East for sure.
Yeah.
I got Dallas here winning the East.
The Cowboys have the better regular season quarterback. They got the better offense.
Better division quarterback.
It's hard to win the NFC East 2 years in a row. That's
let alone 3.
Yeah, 3. Eagles' offensive line, top heavy with Lane Johnson. And I know he's having some family problems where I think he said he might not even play next year. He's going to retire.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff going on in his head this year. They got their money. Ugh. I mean, the Eagles still have top 5 offensive line, defensive line. Their defense is so strong. Vic Fangio is so good. But you're giving me 2-1 on I think it's a coin flip like it was a couple years ago when we took the Cowboys to win the division. And if you're giving me a coin flip and you're giving me 2-1 on my money, it's all about the price. I got to take the Cowboys at 2-1 to win the NFC East.
And especially these 2 draft choices the Eagles got. I mean, Makai Lemon drop and this other guy, Eli Stowers. These guys can't even get on the practice field, let alone get in the starting lineup. I mean, in a year where you get rid of A.J. Brown, your number 1 draft choice can't even make it to practice.
I mean, their offense is going to be, I hate to say it's going to be ugly to look at.
It is.
How do A.J. Brown was responsible for, I think, 36% of Jalen Hurts' passing yards over the last, 4 years. How do you replace that? That's hard to replace. He had 32 touchdown catches. I think he was averaging 8 touchdowns a year. You know, the guy's 6'1", 225. You know, there's like one or two A.J. Browns in the entire – you can't replace – who's going to pick up the pace? Devontae Smith.
36% of Hurts's passing yards came through AJ?
Yeah, he had 5,000 receiving yards. I think in the last 4 years, Hurts had like 13.7 passing yards. It's around 36%. That's hard to replace, you know. And Devontae Smith is great, but he's 170 pounds soaking wet. So if you give him more targets and put him in more vulnerable situations, he might not make it throughout the season. You know, he's not a big, strong wide receiver. And he's been averaging 1,000 receiving yards a year since he came to Philly. But again, like I said, he's a smaller guy. He's got a lot of speed. How do you replace those production numbers on offense? You can't. You know, and Jalen Hurts isn't willing to run anymore. You know, before last season, he was averaging right around 700 rushing yards a year. Last year, I think he ran for like 454 rushing yards. So he's not willing to do it with his legs. Now, whether it was planned that way or whether, you know, maybe he's not 100% healthy with his legs. But the Eagles need him to run more. He's not an elite passer. He's a great football player. He's had a great career. He's won us the Super Bowl. He's the type of football player you want on your team, but he's not an elite quarterback. Let's be honest. His carries dropped off. I think he only had like 105 carries last season. Before that, the last 4 or 5 years, he was averaging 150 carries a year. That was what made that football team click so much. Offensive line, you know, it's been top 5 since he's come to Philly. So he's been a byproduct and a beneficiary of a very good offensive line each and every year. You look at Hurts's QBR, it's over the course of his career, it's like 55.8. That's not that good. I mean, you look at the top 5 guys last year. I think Drake May was at 77. And I think Dak was at 70. So, you know, you're missing A.J. Brown, and Hurts is a great football player, but he's not an elite quarterback. The offense could be in trouble. And with that offensive line aging and they're top heavy with Lane Johnson, if someone gets banged up, it could get ugly real fast.
I've got Detroit over Chicago and Green Bay, but I don't know, because of you, I got Green Bay, and I'm pushing Green Bay up because now they don't get Micah Parsons, I think, for the first month.
Yeah, 4 weeks. Yeah, I think
4 weeks, right? 4 weeks. So, but then again, with Detroit, man, Dan Campbell wobbles a lot, doesn't he? When it comes to play calling and the coach, Ben Johnson. So you tell me the North.
I like the Packers. I think it's a toss-up between the Bears and the Lions. And even though the Bears are going to have a first-place schedule, people forget their defense was the second or third most injured in the NFL last season. So if they're somewhat healthy this year, and obviously Caleb ain't going to have the numbers he probably had last year. They're going to have a target on their back. People know what to expect with him, but he's still, you know, he was clutch when it counted, and that's what you want. Their offense is strong, one of the better offenses in the league. Detroit's got a great offense. I think the Packers are 1, and then you can, you know, either Detroit or Chicago 2 or 3, and then Minnesota's going to be right there too. They got a pretty good defense.
Absolutely. You know, I got Atlanta in the South. I don't know why. I mean, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, a lot of people like New Orleans, but I think if the quarterback can play there. Now, it's Tua and Penix, and I don't think anything of Penix. Yeah. So this has got to go through Bijan Robinson. If they run the ball and play any kind of defense, which they can run the ball, and the quarterback is just decent, I think Atlanta with Kevin Stefanski can win that division. Or do you think it's the Bucs or Carolina?
I like Atlanta. They got a very good defensive team. They had some injuries last year, but I think they're going to play the same type of style of football the Eagles did from 2 years.
Yep.
Run the ball out, depend on their defense, not have them throw. Yeah, he might throw 15 to 17 times a game, limited turnovers. You know, Jalen Hurts is one of the best in the NFL at not throwing interceptions, and I think they're going to try to copycat that style of football, and it might work for them. And at the price, you're getting 4-1 to win the division. I mean, that division is always close. You give me 4-1 on my money, I'll take Atlanta, you know, every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
So my West, I'm going to bite it, and I'm going to do what everybody else is doing. I got Rams. I mean, even though, if you think about it, the 49ers swept, if I'm not mistaken, I think they swept. Would they sweep? Seattle? Or the Rams? They swept somebody. So, I mean,
I remember McVay having some brain cramps late against that team.
Yeah, I think it's the Rams they swept, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Thursday Night Football, was it? I forget.
Yeah, and the 49ers won 12 ball games. I mean,
all banged
what do you
up.
think? Almost, get this, winning the NFC might be not as tough as winning the NFC West. So, I mean, who do you think comes out of the West?
The Rams are just so loaded, and unless injuries really decimate that team, I think it's the Rams. 49ers are going to be right there. I think Seattle drops off a little bit. But you can't count the 49ers out. You know, one of the best play callers in the NFL with Shanahan. Purdy's projected to have the third most passing yards, you know, by odds makers in the NFC. Their offense is loaded. They just always get hurt, man. There's something about that stadium, you know, if it's true. I mean, always getting banged up. But, yeah, it's probably the Rams 1, 49ers 2, and then Seattle 3. Yeah, it's about right.
So I got Dallas, Detroit, Atlanta, and the Rams.
I'm with you.
Where are my wild card teams?
Seattle.
Bird? I got Seattle.
I got the Eagles. Eagles should be right there. Eagles and 49ers, I guess. Right.
So how about this? So that means for you, Green Bay's out.
I got Green Bay winning the division.
Oh, so that means Detroit's out.
I mean, that's a tough division. The West and the North is tough, man. I can see those. I can see the one that both divisions winning 10, 11 games. You know, it's going to be close. It's going to be razor sharp. Razor sharp.
Like 3 teams, either like you could see theoretically if Kyler Murray plays anything. I don't know. What, all 4 teams were over 500 last year in the NFC North. It's the only time I've ever really seen that where everybody had a winning record. They were all 9-8. And I think Chicago had a really good record, but somebody's going to get left out of the West, and somebody's going to get left out in the North, right? Green Bay, Detroit, and Chicago versus, I mean, hey, look, you got so many teams that can make the playoffs, and in the West, you got Seattle, the Rams, and the Niners. All 6 of those teams can easily be in the playoffs.
Yeah. And I think the Eagles' schedule a little favors them to make the playoffs a little bit. You know, they're going to have 3 50-50 games on the road. I think they got 7 road games this season against the Bears. Who's the other 2? Dallas at home. And I forget the other one. But, you know, if they win 1 out of the 3 road games where they might be underdogs, and then the other 4 are cakewalks, I think. You got 5 road wins, and then you're going to win at home. The Eagles probably get in the playoffs as well.
What do you have coming up on the tour? What's coming up there? What's where everybody can find you and where you're headed? You're such a busy guy now. See a lot of folks. A lot of great posts, by the way. So what do you got coming up?
We got a couple more book signings in Philly. The one in Zorba's got postponed because of rain. I think we're jumping up there next Saturday. And then we got the big podcast with Steven Siddell and his whole firm, which is huge. I mean, the last podcast he did got 4 million downloads. So that's massive. And it's about it. You want to go get a copy of the book, you can go to phillybook.com. I'll send you an autographed copy. Take about 3 to 7 business days. If you go to Amazon, ship to order, you know, send it out. They'll send it out the next day. Or Barnes & Noble, where we went number 1 at both places in book sales. And on X at Philly Godfather, if you want to sign up for a membership, the phillygodfather.com. I never had a losing football season since I launched the phillygodfather.com back in 2012. And I get so much free stuff on your show week to week. I mean, you really don't even need the membership. You just watch Dan Sileo show, you make a fortune.
Yeah. Hey, look, we get, by the way, the views we get from your guys that chime in. I mean, the last one we did, I think you had like 143,000 views.
Nothing crazy. Yeah.
Where people were watching the video because we were talking about, I think it was LeBron James. Oh, by the way, over under 48 wins for the Sixers.
I went over 48. I think it's up to 50 or 51. They don't need to win a lot of games. Just stay healthy. Get in the playoffs. They got the 3rd best odds to win the NBA championship. They probably got the best starting 5 in the NBA. If they can keep Embiid healthy, LeBron healthy. I'm not a big fan of load management, but I'm a big fan of it this year for the Sixers. You know, don't overplay those guys. I know the fans are going to be upset, but if you want to win a championship in Philly, and you might even win 2 with LeBron, don't play him too much.
Absolutely. Godfather, we will see you next week. Thank you so much, my friend.
Good luck, guys.
You got it. That is the legendary Philly Godfather. Make sure you check him out over on his social media pages. Kim says, don't sleep on Penix. I'm not a fan of his. I just, maybe poor coaching under Raheem Morris. Maybe a little bit. But, yeah, I just don't think he's that good. I'll say this again, though. Joe Burrow, the year they went to the Super Bowl, was sacked 70 times. Last year, he was sacked 50 times. Could you imagine if that guy had a Jeff Stoutland offensive? You know what I would do? If I were the Bengals next year, I would do everything in my power to hire Jeff Stoutland as my O-line coach. And I would give him anything he wanted to be my offensive line coach. You get Jeff Stoutland in Cincinnati, Joe Burrow will win consecutive Super Bowls. 70 sacks. I can't think of a year. Hold on here. I can't think of a year this guy hasn't been sacked 50 or more times. I mean, and hit the way he's been hit. Joe Burrow's a great football player. Best processing quarterback in the league. How many times has he been sacked? Joe Burrow in sacks. How many times has he been hit? 51, 41. The 51 year, he had 20 in the playoffs. They went to the Super Bowl. 40, 51, 50, 50. Holy cow. Can you imagine? All right, let's pay some bills here. Appreciate you guys coming aboard. Our great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in all of America for a reason. And that's because they win. With over $20 billion recovered, there's no firm like it in the country. Folks, they built this firm over 25 years ago, Ultima and John, to defend families like yours. Like I said, family down in Florida that was initially offered $350,000. They ended up getting nearly $12 million in settlement. No firm like it. If you've ever been injured, go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason Detective Johnson is the gossip king.
Oh, did you hear? Jackie and Tom
are getting a divorce? Sad.
Well, I heard that Ashley
had work done on her face? Yeah, oof.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Bathroom? Okay.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Oh, okay.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Have yourself a great weekend. Final exhibition game of the year is tonight. Don't forget to catch Zander and John pre and post. Halftime as well. The next week, we start ramping up for the start of the NFL season. College football on Saturday. God bless all of you. 2 to 6 on Monday, and we shall see you on the flip side.